Yeah.
Move that a little closer right here.
Hold on. Hold on. It says upcoming. Doesn't say we're live. Yeah. That might change in like 2 seconds. Oh no, we're live. Yep. Okay, it did change. All right. That is it. We're live. Let me post that in the thing.
Let me change there.
You have chat pulled up on.
Right here.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. Okay.
Let me see if these are gonna work. Okay, a couple of these are working here. With these two, right?
So currently we are uh in the process of I'm talking to them, not you. It's okay. So currently we are in the process of trying to get this tier list set up real quick. This is a pretty this is a pretty rough and dirty attempt at making a tier list, power rankings. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I guess it's gonna be more of a tier list this time. A tier list of teams we picked from tier lists.
Yeah. We're just gonna kind of see how these stack up with each other.
We also have not uh pre-analyzed any of these teams at
Nope.
all. Like we've been paying attention to the draft, of course. We have a vague idea of what people have, but like this is like our very first actual like, all right, let's take a look at this team and, you know, analyze what's up with this. We haven't done any of that yet, so this is all just it's a lot of first impressions and just kind of talking shit out with each other and with you guys. So that's what we're up to tonight.
Is there anybody else that hasn't put in a image? The Kings, right?
King Squad doesn't have one. Fishies don't have one, and one. I think there's one more that don't have one. I think it's redacted. It's all in the. If there's a uh, logo on the dock, then they have one. All of the logos are put into the dock. The ones that we have.
Oh,
Okay. Why don't we have a dislike button? Because we rig this shit to. We're like North Korea. No criticisms of us
yeah,
here.
pretty much. Oh, the potatoes logo.
Yep, yep. So we should have 11, and then I don't know. We could just like use an image of their first pick to represent the other teams.
Yeah, we can. All right, let's see if I can upload some files here. Uh, oh, I can. I guess I can choose all of these.
I think you have to do all of them
Yeah,
once
okay.
because just erase
Yeah,
the other
just
ones.
erase the other ones. Okay.
Oh, you don't need the gabagools in there. That's just Ryan and Gabe again.
Oh, did I have the Gabagools? My fault.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, the fishies gave us one.
Okay. All right. So now we're up to 12.
Yeah. Why doesn't the potatoes one show up?
I don't know.
Fishies.
Is it the wrong file type? Would you save it
Possibly.
as?
Save it as what I've been saving it as.
I don't know.
Oh, I bet you if I reload it, it'll be okay. Okay, and then let's look through. Yeah, we have the Mudkips, we have the Jurors, we have the Pixies, the Rollers. We need King Squad. We have Redacted, I'm pretty sure.
No, they don't have a logo.
So both of these.
Hold on, just click on them. Yeah. Okay.
Drillers we have, Fishies we have, Cinnabons we have. Let's see if I can. Let me download it. They didn't submit one.
Who?
The Phantom Thieves.
They might have put it somewhere else. Let me see.
We got the Backpackers. Splash Bros put one in. Yep. Marinas put one in. Potatoes put one in. Okay.
Can you not copy it from the doc?
No, come on. Oh, you know what I can do? I can copy it and paste it in logo submissions. I think. If it'll let me. Or not. Yeah.
I think I can do it. Keep the troops entertained.
All right, so
work on whatever else you need. I'll grab that
one. All right, so we got the default row text S through D here. Okay, so I say instead of S, we make we put dope. All right, no. We got the spicy. That's what we got. All right. That's top tier.
That's the highest one?
Yeah. Highest tier is spicy. All right. A. We're going to put cooking with A. Cooking. All right. Okay. B.
Spicy mayo and then mayo.
I'm gonna put doing things. All right. All right. For B tier. Okay.
Okay.
C. Mid. Yeah, we're gonna have to put mid. You're not bad. You're just mid.
Yeah, you're just
right?
mid.
Sorry. B tier. Okay.
Yeah.
You think B tier is mid? No, I think.
Or mild. Terrence said mild. Mild is good too. Since you're going with spicy and mild.
Oh, true.
It's
true.
a little more fitting.
You know, I think I'm gonna put tasty for B, and then for C, I'm gonna put mild. Because honestly, B is still doing things. You know,
yeah.
It's not too bad.
They're not bad.
You know. And D tier. We're gonna put McDonald's.
Well, that's subjective. Some people might see that as a good thing.
Yeah. D tier is not terrible. It's consistent. You can do stuff. You know.
I don't know if I agree with that last one.
All right. Oh, if you have another recommendation for D tiers, let me know. All right, throw it in the trap. Let's see. Disappointed. I don't. If I had really like spent time, if we spent time looking at these teams, we used to like go through Cerebi pages and do all this. I don't really want to bland.
Right.
You know what? I like bland. You're right. You're right, Ty. It's nothing terrible. It's just a little bland. It's just a little bland. I can't see it.
Bland is good.
I like bland. All right. Thank you. All right. I think that's fine. It's not terrible. Maybe you could throw. You know, it's like, hey, you didn't even see when we throw the sauce on it here.
It's gonna be pretty good.
Have you ever had ribs with no rub or no sauce or anything?
They suck.
They're bland. They're bland.
That makes sense.
Oh, disappointed. Oh, okay. Sorry, Shannon. Sorry. All right, I like this.
It's a good list.
Let me see. I'm gonna make a new tab over here and throw it over here. Yes, exactly. Why would you have ribs with no sauce? You should have. Although there are some good dry rub ribs, I will say, but it's bland without them. I like bland. I like bland. Okay.
Where did Matt go?
He went to go do something. I don't even know.
Oh.
He just said to do something. Who knows? Save. Okay. Like that. Sorry, I'm looking for get them Wyoming ribs. Got good rubs in them. That's fine. Hey,
Wyoming ribs are dry rub?
it can be. Let's see. Save this. Just. Let me see. What were the other ones that we were missing? Oh, the Phantom Thieves. Damn. I'm pretty sure if I go through Discord, I can find their logo.
Maybe can you use their last season logo?
It's not. It's not in the.
Oh, it's not in there.
Yeah.
Okay. What's that you have up there? That works, right?
What was that? Sorry.
Isn't there?
Yeah, I can't copy this over for whatever.
Oh, just
reason.
snip it. Type in snipping tool.
No, somebody saved it onto my hotbar already.
Oh, nice. Just save it.
Save as. Let's see. Okay. We have everything here. I feel like we're missing something.
Yeah, almost there.
Yeah, but the potatoes one isn't showing up. Ugh. Everything else seems to be there. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How many teams we got?
14.
We're missing 2 for sure. Oh, I'm missing the Omaha Cinnabons. Okay, let's try that again.
You should have this.
It's not on there. These aren't, for whatever reason, saving properly. The potatoes and the fishies are not saving properly. Let's see again. I do have the Cinnabons. That was messing up. Fishes just got submitted. Yeah, but it's not saving properly for whatever reason.
Maybe just screenshot that one too, then.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. That's a good idea. Oh, okay. I have the thieves. Yeah, it's still not working.
What?
Told you it's not working.
Okay.
I think that the
file size too big?
No, I think that it's saving it in the wrong format. Yeah. I think what Shannon just said. Versus PNG. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'll just bless you. I will just do a new save as fishies. Save. And then we'll do the same thing for this one. New. Okay. And then save as potatoes. Okay.
Do you want an image for the other two?
1, 2,
Redacted
3, 4,
and
5,
King
6,
Squad?
7. I already got them.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
What'd you pick?
This crown and this redacted paper.
Okay, sure.
All right, we're going.
Are we
Smoothest
ready?
Stream ever. All right, here are our tiers, Matt. Tier reveal for you. We figured this out with spicy tier 1.
Right.
All right, cooking tier 2, tasty tier 3, mild tier 4, a little bit bland tier 5.
Bland sounds insulting. I hope nobody ends up in bland. Somebody's gonna end up in bland.
I hope so too. You must be logged in to create. Well, we logging in then. And by logging in, I mean creating an account.
Jesus Christ, we're so good at streaming.
What happened?
We have to create an account on the tier list website now.
Let's see here. No. Alright, well, I don't know. That's what we're doing.
How are we looking?
We're about to see.
Ooh.
Did they get rid of our tier list thingy? After all that work we did? Of course they did.
It's not saved.
Well, we got all the logos. We can just upload them again, right?
That's not the point. The point is that they got rid of all of our work. We're supposed to do all that.
I think most of the work is done. We're probably okay.
Bring this back over here. Okay, cool. We got all this.
Still got our tiers.
I got add a URL for image credits? No, of course not.
Oh, okay. So we have all our stuff.
Pokemon MBC tiers. Now why can't I submit?
You might actually have to go back because
Right,
you were
refresh.
or refresh, yeah, or redo this because maybe it didn't detect you as being logged in the
It
first
says
time.
right here, logged in, but
I know, but you know.
Okay, this time they don't let us. Okay, let's see. NBC, NBC here. Select a category. Pokemon. Nobody is gonna know what that is. Pokemon's an obscure, what is it? License. Yes. All right. Choose file. I'm pretty sure I had any pictures here. Okay. Choose files. All right. We had spicy. Was it cookie?
Cooking.
Cooking.
Yeah.
Tasty. Mild. And bland.
Please work.
All right.
Okay. All right. We're ready.
We are here.
So, how are we gonna do this? Just go one by one and put them in the tiers as we go.
Pretty much.
Okay. We also reserve the right to change tiers on
Absolutely.
past placements if we get through some more teams and realize that something was better or worse than we thought. Let's see. You want to zoom in on the dock a little bit?
I have no idea how to do that. Control plus.
No, the 100% up at the top.
100%.
Next to view only.
Oh, okay.
That looks better.
Yeah, looks good. Okay.
So who wants to go first? I probably best to do a team that's actually here right now.
Shannon's here. We can do the Mudkips first and go work our way this way.
Well, if they want to go first, somebody tell us if you want to go first.
Volunteers for first.
By the way, is our audio good? We too quiet, too loud, anything like that, or we just right? Oh, Shannon said sure. Okay, so we'll do the Mudkips first then.
All right.
Seems fine. Okay, cool. Audio good. All right. So, Mudkips had first pick, which they did not have any trouble with at all.
Nope, they knew exactly what they're going to
yep.
pick right from the get-go.
Yep.
On the same page.
Definitely no arguments about what this first pick might be.
Mm-hmm.
And ended up being Fluttermane. Then they went with they actually had a weird kind of wheel. Maybe not as wheely as the last place team, but you get a wheel every round after in between the first and last. So the pairs they took were Talonflame Sableye, followed by Disquake, Rotom, and Garchomp, Orthworm, and Ursaring. Ursaring is a fun pick. I like that. And then rounding things out with Luxio, Sawsbuck, and that's their whole team. There's no other Pokemon on this team. Sawsbuck is the last one.
Does Tandemaus not get like anything?
Well,
Friend Guard? Does it get Follow Me?
No Follow Me. Dude, Follow Me? It
Like,
would be actually maybe kind of good if it got Follow Me. It has Population Bomb. You can see its stats there. It's probably still not going to be doing anything. I mean, I know that Mousehold also doesn't have the best attack stat, but well, it's not 50, and Mousehold also has a much higher speed stat, so it's a lot easier to actually get that off. I don't expect Mousehold to be doing much of anything. If they find some use for it, I'll be impressed if it's not some kind of a gimmick.
We keep saying Mousehold. It's Tandemaus.
Well, I was talking about Mousehold for like just
Oh,
comparison.
you wouldn't expect Mousehold to do anything much? Or what?
Tandem Mouse, no. If it had follow me, sure, it's gonna follow me, but it doesn't. Yeah, it's not gonna do anything.
Okay, so we spent way too long on that.
Okay, so what do you think about this team?
Fluttermane, I think, was a really good first overall pick. I think there was 3 or 4 Pokemon that were like in that range. And funnily enough, I don't think we chose Iron Valiant second. Iron Valiant actually falls second, or comes into like 5th. I think like Iron Hands was really good. I think Fluttermane was really good. The fish, Chien-Pao, and the Ice Dark type. I always forget this.
Chien-Pao
and Chi-Yu. I think those were like the top 4 just in general, and I think those did go pretty much in the order, except Iron Hands got picked by the Cheek Drillers.
Yes.
Pretty late, but so I thought it was a pretty good pick just in general.
Well, late for Iron Hands, but
late for Iron Hands.
But
yeah. But I think Fluttermane was a great pick. But honestly, the thing about it is they built a really good Garchomp team. If you have 3 ground immunities: Earthworm, Rotom Wash, and Talonflame, so you can Earthquake freely next to most of these things. I think just Garchomp in general is a really powerful Pokemon. It's got good bulk. Terra only makes it better because you can get rid of the times 4 weakness. It's a good speed stat. Lots of item diversity that you can run with it. Lumberry, Clear Amulet, Life Orb, Choice Scarf, Choice Band if you want. Assault Vest. You can do a lot of things with the Garchomp here. And actually, I think the Garchomp seems more impressive. The more impressive part of all of this than anything. Especially if you get Sableye, launching screens, speed control. It can be a huge problem. And I think screens also helps Fluttermane out a lot. But it weirdly almost seems more like a hardcore, let's support Garchomp and get that rolling. And Fluttermane is just an amazing pick that just kind of fits really well onto it. It's a fairy type, so it can kind of like help with other things on that and take care of other dragon types around it. And the Garchomp's ground type really supports Fluttermane's weakness to steel types and things like that. So I think it's really good.
Yeah, it is. It is funny. I see exactly the same thing. It's more of a Garchomp team than a Fluttermane team, which is weird because Fluttermane is, I think most of us can agree it's the higher value Pokemon in the tier between the two. It's the one they picked first. I was kind of, scratching my head a little bit when I saw the the Talonflame Sableye right after the Fluttermane. I was like, okay, that seems okay. It's nothing crazy. And then they went with the Garchomp and Rotom. I was like, okay, this team seems to be tying itself together quite a bit more. And then there's also a Fluttermane here, which is gonna have some good synergy with some of the stuff, but it's not like it's a pretty splashable Pokemon that can.
I was just gonna say that.
You can kind of put it on anything and on any team comp, and as long as the role overlap is not too much, it's gonna do fine. It's just it's one of these things that's just strong.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I've been playing a lot of series too, and just kind of team building around it. And Fluttermane absolutely feels like a Pokemon you just kind of splash on there, and you're like, oh, this works. Like, okay, cool.
It's just got a great typing, and obviously the stats making it super offensive makes it really easy to just do really high amounts of neutral damage to pretty much everything. Yeah. I mean, spamming Fairy and Ghost, there are very few things that can resist both of those.
Yeah, I think all that's very valid point. I think it's really good. I think the only thing I can see is it might struggle a little bit in Trick Room, but Trick Room is I think it's gonna be a little bit harder to kind of do because we don't have as many good Trick Room setters, good redirectors, good Trick Room sweepers in this part of the decks. So I don't think it's bad to kind of go hard into some of these faster / middling speed. That's something that we kind of did as well. Because there's just not.
You guys did it better than this. I mean, the slowest thing here is what, Ursaring?
Ursaring
at 55, or Sableye, I guess, but you don't really care about Sableye's speed. So effectively, the slowest thing here is Ursaring, which offensively, I mean, seems okay for Trick Room. 55 isn't great. I think as far as countering opposing Trick Room teams, I can see like a support Eviolite Ursaring there doing really good work to just slow down opposing Trick Room rather than like trying to be a guts boosted Trick Room sweeper itself.
Yeah, I see Shannon came in and said Fluttermane and Sableye the diet. I think Sableye more than Fluttermane. Fluttermane has
Yeah.
access to like imprison Trick Room stuff and all these things, but one of the problems with Fluttermane is you want other things on there.
Imprisoned Trick Room
But
is just so hard to fit on
yeah,
anything in draft.
yeah.
I like
But with Sableye, she brings a good point because screens,
Yeah.
Will-O-Wisp, Quash, all these things really help mitigate
taunt.
taunt, yeah, prankster taunt, fake out as well to kind of like try and offset turns. All these things really do slow down the Trick Room momentum.
It is really
Um,
crazy that Sableye gets screens
Yeah.
now.
So yeah, my main thing, Shannon, is like I say,
Oops.
a lot of these things that you want, you don't really want to like put it onto a moveset because you're trying to do other things rather than just straight up stop Trick Room. Where at Sableye, you could not even expect Trick Room at all on it, have a moveset that can perfectly like counter Trick Room. Oh, we want Taunt because they're going to set up on us on something. It also helps against Trick Room. Oh, we have screens because we want to be bulky. Also helps from stopping Trick Room. Oh, we have Fake Out because Fake Out's just a good move in general. Helps in stalling out the Trick Room turns in general. If you see that they have something like Torkoal, you have access to Rain Dance to kind of stop
Yeah.
it. You don't even have to try with Sableye to kind of like stop Trick Room up. But it's more of a defensive play style and like a reactive play style than being proactive on a lot of these things.
You can also encore the Trick Room user on turn 2.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Mhm.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the top half. The bottom tier picks. Tandem Mouse, we don't have to get into that. Orthworm, Luxio, Sawsbuck, what do you think about those? What do you see them doing here?
Earthworms, I think, is a bring every week. I think it's honestly an underrated Pokemon, and they kind of 15 points is not bad with it.
And they got it with Garchomp.
Yeah, Shed Tail really good. Immunity to ground is really good.
Yeah.
I think in general, it's a good mon. I think the only issue that I have with the team in general is that you're gonna have to bring 8 mons to team preview, and seeing like a combination of Luxio, Sawsbuck, or Tandem Mouse, it's not striking fear any of those 3 in your prep. So knowing that like one of them has to come to team preview, you kind of have an idea of what 6 or 7 are going to come. But at the same time too, Shannon and Ferret never really had an issue using top heavy teams.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is another still kind of top heavy team. Even though it kind of seemed like they weren't necessarily going for that. If you just look at like the first 3 picks, you expect them maybe to grab like one more A tier maybe, and then depart from there to like mid low tier picks. But then they picked up that second S tier with another A tier, and then it's like, oh okay, well you're halfway done and you have very few points left. So yeah, this did end up being a pretty top heavy team, which is not necessarily bad. We've seen plenty of top heavy teams perform well.
I think the fact they have some balance on it too really helps a lot. You can slow stuff down with Rotom Wash, and it's semi bulky, has a good speed stat, good coverage. Terra really helps it a lot, and then like the Sableye I think helps a lot because you look at the first 2, Fluttermane, Talonflame, extremely weak defensively. They can kind of get burned down real fast, especially when one of the things that I've noticed with against Fluttermane is, man, when you defensive Terra against it, it really puts it into a tough spot because they're trying to blow you up right away, and then since they're so frail, it will immediately put them on the back foot. So it's one
especially if you've got a physical attacker that can just blow that thing up.
Yeah.
So
the Garchomp I think is honestly probably my favorite part about the team because it kind of has a combination of being extremely bulky. I mean, 108, 95, 85 defenses is like really, really good. And you can Terra out of that to kind of mitigate the times 4 weakness to ice. And I think in general, it's just going to be a really good Pokemon. So I think like it seems super offensive with the first 2 picks to where it's like, oh, this is going to be a glass cannon team. But I think when you look at the Sableye, the Garchomp, the Rotom Wash, it has enough like bulk and balance to where they can kind of slow things down if they need to and still put out offense. So I like it. What are we thinking here? I like them in spicy and cooking. Honestly, I think they have one of the better ones.
I don't think I would put it in spicy.
Okay.
If you want to go for cooking, I'm comfortable with that. Um, yeah, I think let's go cooking.
Okay.
My standards might be a little high. It might be tough for me
We're still pretty early on. You don't want
yeah.
to start, and I think moving stuff around as we start seeing it.
Yes.
Here's another thing: when we do power rankings, one of the things that we do is we look at all the teams individually. This is typically what we do. Is we'll look at all the teams individually. Me and Matt will come up with grades. Then we'll come together and kind of try and figure out what we liked in the middle of that. And it allows us to have an understanding of how each team was built with that kind of context in mind. And as we're kind of going through this one by one, it's like we don't really know how good the next team is gonna look,
Yeah.
because it could look absolutely terrible next. And I would say that because it's us, but like it could look absolutely terrible. It's like, ooh, and the next couple could be terrible, and we're like, actually, you know what? Compared to some of these other ones, no, the Mudkips had a good draft.
Yeah. Yeah, that can definitely happen.
Yeah, so
one last thing I want to mention about this draft is that I'm maybe a little bit worried about how they function if too many of their offensive pieces go down, because you've got like Talonflame and Sableye up there as like really expensive pieces that are mostly there for support. Mm-hmm. So like Fluttermane, Garchomp, Rotom, those are your primary damage dealers, really. Ursaring is up there too, actually having the same base attack set as Garchomp, so that's respectable. But at the same time, your Ursaring is either going to be like Eviolite support stuff and you're not really investing much in attack, or you are using it as like, a Guts or Quick Feet boosted Pokemon. When you're Quick Feet, you don't have like a huge amount of damage output, and when you're Guts, you really need to position yourself correctly with the right kind of speed control. So, because that 55 base speed is super awkward to work with. So I wonder, like, if something really happens to the Fluttermane, Garchomp, Rotom, or if maybe one of those doesn't get brought to a particular match, and you lose like the other two or something, I can see them having serious problems with damage output.
I understand that. I think Ursaring still is going to be a pick that probably comes a lot in general.
It should be, yeah.
90, 75, 75 is a really good defensive distribution. With Eviolite, it's just going to be ridiculous how bulky it's going to be. But I think, I think you're going to get a lot of your primary damage out of those three. I do think Ursaring and Earthworm, kind of. But I think Earthworm is mostly just going to be like a body press thing.
Oh, yeah. It's mostly just like, I want to put this thing next to Garchomp, or like an Iron Defense Body Press set looks really good into this team this week. That's when that thing's going to come. Luxio is really just there when you need Intimidate. Sawsbuck is really just there when you're in desperate need of a grass type. And Tandemaus is probably going to do nothing.
Yeah.
So that's about it. I don't really see those bottom four coming very much. Earthworm probably the most out of all of them, but we'll see.
You want to do us next?
Well, let's take volunteers. Who wants to go next? Who's second? I think. We've got quite a few.
We got Ty
teams
here,
in here.
next
Yeah.
On the Platinum Pixies. Do we have any other rollers?
Yeah. I don't think I've seen.
What team
them.
is Arts in right here?
Splash Bros.
Splash Bros. Okay. Oh yes, he's right here. Splash Bros. Correct.
Do we want to do them next? Are they down? Okay. Okay, yeah, let's do
that. Too late, Dan. Sorry.
we'll do Dan next.
Yeah, we'll do you guys next.
Okay. So this is I don't know what to make of the order in which they picked all their shit, because they went for some C tiers like really early. I sort of get the Pelipper. They're clearly like, they obviously wanted to go for a rain mode, no problem there. Morgrim next is interesting, although I do kind of like the Morgrim Iron Jugulus combination.
They were the 12th pick.
That's true. Yeah, so going A tier is definitely not weird.
Yeah.
In that position, especially when you're you want to target down a specific kind of team comp, which maybe they made they're here. We can ask them. Did you guys intend to go for Rain with the Pelipper Floatzel, or did your logo come later after you picked those things? Because I'd be curious to know that. Like Splash Bros indicates they're water type enthusiasts. Maybe they were going for Rain from the beginning. I don't know.
Grim was gone at that point, but honestly, if Morgrim is a good pick. It's not bad at that range.
No, it's good. I just I'm surprised to see it go that early.
I like the Jugulus. Clodsire that early seemed weird to me.
Yeah.
Mainly because what I will say. They said yes. We picked Pelipper and assumed no one would want Floatzel, so we left it for later. Okay, that's fair. Especially if you had the foresight to kind of see that Floatzel wasn't going to be taken. You could kind of take other stuff in between.
I mean, you take the only Drizzle user. Yeah, who's gonna want?
But I'm not gonna lie. Like, just so you guys know, I would definitely have taken like things like Gudra or King Gambit before I took Clodsire.
Or the Grumpig or Flareon. Like, those are fine for
later
later in the draft.
Yeah, you got what you wanted. The Clodsire that early is great. But okay, aside from the draft stuff. Let's see what we have here, just in general. We have a steel type. We have dragon. Do we have a good fairy? I mean, Morgrim is there, I guess. No, Morgrim's fairy, right?
Yeah. I should also note with the Clodsire, I mean, I'm curious to see what kinds of sets you're gonna bring on it. But if it's gonna be like an unaware stall kind of thing, you have to be really, really wary of the timer. That kind of shit's not going to fly in when you're going up against good opponents who know how to manipulate the timer. You could when 20 minutes is over, that's it. I mean, if they know enough to kill everything around Clodsire and kind of stall it out, it's not going to be so good for you guys. So, word of advice: watch out for that.
Yeah, that would be the only thing I would say. All right, so let's stop without looking at this whole 1 through 10. Let's say that they went like Pelipper, Iron Jugulus, King Gambit, Floatzel, Gudra, and then like the bottom of a draft was like Spidops, Morgrim, Grumpig, all this.
Sure.
And we look at it like that.
Well, then another thing I want to note here is that they have 5 points left. You can trade in that Spidops for a 15-pointer, which you probably should. I don't know what you want to put in that slot, but there's plenty of stuff there.
But then you wouldn't have Spidops anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Keep the Spidops. You'll win the league if you do that.
Somebody got low kicks, right?
Yeah. Alan and Hector have.
Oh, they got it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I want that thing to be good. It's not great, but it's
Terra
fun.
Bug first impression.
Yeah. Okay.
Is okay.
It's okay.
It's all right.
What do you think of all the dark types here? Is that okay or is that a problem?
I think the lack of like a really good steel or fire type. I guess you have King Gambit, but I mean, it's dark too.
Right.
You know, this is something that if we go back and look at our draft, we had a decent amount of dark types as well, and fighting types. So like fairy weaknesses and stuff like that. We had to kind of one of the reasons why we didn't take a dragon because we wanted a dragon.
Fairy's gonna be a bit of a problem here.
And that was one thing that we noticed. So we had to go get like an Armarouge or things like that to like kind of resist fairy. That's the only thing I don't really see on this. But I think Ryan, piano guy, is coming here.
He likes the jugs.
It's pretty good, honestly. I like it. I understand why a lot of people don't like it in a format like VGC, but I honestly think that it has like the same has like the same case for as like Iron Valiant, where it does a decent amount of things. And its typing is okay.
I think Valiant's a little bit better, but
Yeah,
I get
but-
what you're.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's not something you would typically choose in like a
Jesus.
in like a VGC format, but yeah.
So I think looking at like the high tiers here, the mid to high tiers, you've got like your rain mode, and then you've got some offensive sweepy potential mixed with some balance and bulky offense with that like Morgrim, Iron Jugulus, King Gambit, Gudra kind of cluster. Of course, with the rain mode, I think those are combos and modes that'll do fine with each other. There's I don't think they necessarily have super like positive synergy. Some of it does, like King Gambit and Rain, for example, to help the fire types or something like that. But
King
yeah,
Gambit and Rain is not something to especially next to Float. So I think it's pretty good.
There is there are some holes here, type synergy wise, which you might think, well, we have Terra now. You can just use your Terra to plug up those leaks, and sometimes you can, and sometimes that'll be fine. I prefer teams where you're not forced to do that. So I think some more solid, maybe a more solid steel type here in terms of like actually resisting Fairy would be good, because your only Fairy resists are Clodsire and Flareon, and I don't know if that's gonna be good enough. And it kind of just after you get past the B tiers, I kind of just have some question marks about these lower tier picks. I'm not really sure what they're here for. Not that they can't do good stuff, but I'm scratching my head a little bit.
What I'll say about their team that I really like is that it's a good combination of offense and bulk.
Yep.
A lot of these teams, I think our team even kind of falls into that, where like it can kind of hit real hard, but also you have to maneuver around your defensive typings in a way that you're not immediately going to get shut down on one side or the other. This team has a lot of like Pokemon that can kind of sit there on the field for a little bit. Things like Gudra, things like King Gambit, Iron Jugulus, even to an extent, can sit out there on the field for a decent amount of time. The Pelipper and the Floatzel, yeah, those are a little bit more glass cannon-y, right? But you expect that in rain type modes a lot of the times, unless it's like, I don't know, Politoed and Kingdra back in the day.
Kingdra and Ludicolo actually have some decent
Yeah.
bulk and decent typing. So, but yeah, Floatzel, you know what you're getting with Floatzel.
Yeah. So I think in general, I think the team is actually pretty well constructed when you look at it from like an aspect of being able to take hits and put them out. A couple of the picks seem a little bit weird. I won't disagree with that, but in a draft league, you kind of have to look at the main thing that they're doing.
Art says we don't see the vision, and I think that's something we've got at least a few times from usually from newer teams that we don't quite know yet, and sometimes they outperform our expectations. So if that's you, fucking do it up.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I'll say is when we're on the fence about teams, we're pretty 50-50 when it comes to like whether they're going to be good or not. We've had teams completely blow our expectations out of the water, and we've had teams that have like,
I mean, the fucking Mudkips showed up like, oh, we're just here for fun, and then we met them in finals.
Yeah.
So
Still not convinced about that. You can't say you're here for fun and have Mega Sheet. I refuse to believe it. But no, honestly, because we because I'm a little bit like I see the parts, I see everything working together. I just wouldn't know how I would construct it. It leaves me feeling a little bit more comfortable about them, because what I was gonna say is when we see that a team is really bad, we're almost never wrong about that.
That's true. Yeah, and this is not in that category.
This is not in that category.
I don't know that we have any teams like that this time.
I don't think I've looked through a decent amount, just kind of like going through, seeing what people put together, and there's none of those where I'm like, oh man, what is your game plan going into every week?
Because there have been times in past seasons where we got something like that. Like we look at a team, we're just like, God, this is a fucking disaster. This
Yeah.
is not a disaster.
This is not.
This is definitely not a disaster.
This feels more like the Mudkips were like, oh, it's a little bit top heavy for our taste. You know, it's going to be a little bit unusual for you guys to be able to put out offense on a consistent basis, but you know, who knows? We'll see how it ends up working out. You know, but this kind of seems more like that. They have good pieces here. I think the way that they finished off with the King Gambit was pretty decent.
Yeah, that was good. So where do you want to put this one then? Any final thoughts from our Splash Bros in chat, by the way?
Yeah, C+. That's pretty good in my opinion. Considering that, like, I think our highest rated team were like A-. Like, it's not like we give out A+. A lot of teams kind of were sitting. If you looked at our original power ranking videos, a lot of them were sitting between C+ and B. A lot of teams sat there. We had a few B+ and a couple A-. And I think the Sadistic Seniors were like our only A that we ever gave.
We're pretty harsh. I don't know that we ever gave anybody an A+. And we had Alan and Hector great hours, so we weren't doing our own. But yeah, I still feel like I'm in a harsher mindset right now because I'm debating between tasty and mild, but I feel a little bit more generous. I feel like I want to put it in tasty.
Okay, good, because I was thinking they were between cooking and tasty.
Okay, yeah, you're a little more, you're being a little more generous than I am tonight. So as long as I mean that's kind of happened both times. I'm a little bit
bland.
Yeah. Oh no.
No. You guys got something tasty going on. I see it. All right, I'm telling you, you guys are good. Don't worry, you guys are all right.
Art's been saying we're not seeing the real shit, so I hope he's right. Bring the real shit. If we don't see it,
okay,
you gotta bring it.
Here's the thing: if anybody's played fantasy football before the season starts, everybody's like, "I'm an S tier, bro. I'm an S tier." All right, I just drafted the greatest team of all time. Nobody is gonna be able to beat it, and then by like week 3 or week 4, they're like, okay, my team has major holes. Yeah. So everybody in this chat right now is like, bro, I'm either spicy or cooking right now. Like, I'm high cooking, low spicy. Everybody in this
I'm
chat.
cooking if you want to be mean about it.
Yeah. If you really want to nitpick stuff, I'm in the cooking category.
All right, so the Nebby Backpackers are next, I believe.
Yep, let's do it. Hold on, I'm gonna grab a drink real quick.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Okay, well, you go grab me a drink, and
okay.
I will stay here.
Okay, I'll be right back. You can start on this one if you like, or just don't start in your analysis. Just shit talk Dan for a couple minutes.
Yes, thank you, Luke Falcon. You are absolutely correct. We are like doing 20% of the work that we usually do. We're not looking at any of these Pokemon Cerebi pages. We're not looking at any of that. We are absolutely going to miss stuff. So yeah. Oh, Dan, you have to tell me, dude. I got Jonathan Taylor, all right, Javonte Williams, Darren Waller, okay. It was popping for me. Then I went back because Russ was gonna have a great year, so I went and got Cortland Sutton too. In the oh man, yeah. That's how it works. You think stuff is gonna work, and then it just doesn't end up going. All right, let's take a look at this here. Oh, the Slither Wing. That's what I'm talking about. I like the Cerulege too. Palafin. So honestly, I like this a lot because you guys have just a lot of really good stuff here. The weakest stuff that you guys have is like Electrode, but honestly, Electrode can do some nice things too. Palafin. I'm up in the air about Palafin. I think you guys can do great things with it. But here's my only issue. All right, hear me out. In VGC, you have basically you lead Palafin next to something else. And at that point, you have a 1 in 4 chance of guessing what they're going to switch the Palafin out to. Because you've seen the lead and then you kind of have an idea. There's 4 Pokemon in the back. You don't know what they have back there. Maybe you can whittle it down once you see the lead, like, okay, they're not bringing this, so one of 2. In multi-battles, because there's only going to be 3 Pokemon in a slot, you can kind of whittle down, like, okay, well, they're not going to go into, if I have an electric type out, they're not going to just switch in, their flying type here, like Salamence or something like that, even though I don't really, but I'm just saying that it's a little bit harder to get it set up with less Pokemon in the back. It makes it a little bit more predictable, but I think that's the only thing that I don't like about Palafin is just pretty much that. Because once you get it and set it up, it has, I mean, look at the stats, dude. Look at the stats. Look at the stats.
What do you think about Special Palafin? Well, most of the time, obviously, you don't do it because you have 160
and you have
attack
Wave
and you have
Crash
Wave Crash. Yeah,
and Jet Punch. Yeah. But
I don't know if there's an Intimidate team that you're really worried about. Then I don't know, maybe, but you probably do it like once in a season tops. I do want to reiterate the point you were making before I left to. Why did I open this one? I have a whatever. Before I left, this is very much like you said. This is like 20% of our normal effort. That's probably being generous. We didn't prepare for this at all, like intentionally. We're just kind of shooting the shit, throwing back some Trulies, and talking about Pokemon. This is much less official than what we used to do in past seasons.
although more fun.
Yeah, we never used to get drunk during our fucking. I mean, I'm not drunk, but maybe I will be by the end of this. So, Nebby Backpackers. Okay, so I have 2 big problems with this team. Dan, can you guess what they are? I'm sure he can get at least one of them. What do you think about this team? Starting off with.
No, I'm gonna hide Dan's response.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good shit here. There's a lot of
good stuff.
there's a lot of high value for sure, which is
Uh-huh.
kind of Dan's thing. Dan says Dan is the problem with this team. Okay, I have like 2.5 problems with this team. We'll count that as the half. I'll give you that one.
Speed control is okay.
Yeah, I mean that's the first thing.
Yeah.
Just not just speed control, but speed in general.
Yeah.
Because like for most of the draft, I was looking at this team going like, yeah, cool. I mean, lots of value. I mean, Pokemon that are valuable for their tier. Palafin, Salamence, Arboliva, and Slitherwing, I think all fit into that category. The rest seem to fit comfortably in their tier. I don't think they I don't think they drafted anything that's kind of meh for the tier. But it feels almost like they did that at the cost of having enough speed, because most of the draft I was looking at this, like 100 is like still their highest base speed, and in the last round they get Electrode, which obviously very fast, but then there's that whole range of 100 to 150 that's just barren, and that's not great because that's an important range. Because nothing's gonna bother at trying to outspeed Electrode unless it's like Scarf or Booster Energy shit. And Electrode, I'd feel more comfortable with that being the only fast thing here if it had Electro Web, which it doesn't. It's
But you just
only Thunder Wave.
Terra Normal, Choice Band Explosion into Cerulege.
50 base attack? Sure. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Did you not hear me say Terra Normal?
Okay.
Oh yes, Glimora is also very good.
I feel like I should know this. Does Glimora get Trick Room? I don't think so, but Nihilego makes me wonder. But I do like. I think Tay mentioned in chat when they drafted Glimora that the Toxic Spikes ability was going to be good in a 6v6 format, so that seems cool.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm not sure that's like gonna be really really strong, especially because of the timer. But I like the idea, and I want to see how it plays out.
Does not get Trick Room.
Okay, doesn't really matter. I mean, Slowbro was even if it has Trick Room, Slowbro is the primary Trick Room setter anyway, so it's not a big deal. So speed is my biggest problem with this team. My second problem is that Dan did not draft Iron Thorns, which was really disappointing because I thought he was going to, and then he didn't for a while, and I thought somebody else might, and then nobody else did, and I got really disappointed.
We were going to.
You should have.
We got Rev-A-Vroom, though. We can't have these ×4 ground weaknesses just all over the place. Like...
Well, look, that's okay. The Rev-A-Vroom is fucking sick.
Yeah, but we looked at it because we were... A lot of teams I saw decided to dip back into A at the in the last few. These guys were one of them. They went and grabbed Cerulege in the 9th. And I noticed that, like, okay, there's a lot of people went into that.
He mentioned it a lot. Are you talking, Charles? Are you talking about the Iron Thorns? Because I was expecting that one to come in for a while on your guys' squad. Seemed to kind of go with what you guys were going for, because a lot of this is, you know, a lot of these are borderline Pokemon on their in the tier they're in. Borderline, like, could be moved up.
Let me say something too.
Yeah.
Is this PDPL Tay?
Yes.
I think that this is going to help them out a lot. I almost kind of see it because Dan and Charles are really good players, right? They've always been able to put stuff together. That's always been really good. But sometimes when you add like another good player that's just in there, that's also had good success in draft leagues, it really like will galvanize the whole group. Everybody kind of plays better. We saw this last successes and or a lot of successes in draft league. And
What was that?
are we still live? Everybody okay?
Type 1 in the chat if nothing is wrong.
Yeah.
Because we just got a little OBS notification.
Yeah.
I don't know what's.
Oh wait.
Seems
Okay.
fine.
Seems fine. Okay.
Yeah, it says you're live.
Okay. Sorry. We got a little weird Discord notification there.
Okay. All right, we're good.
So I think we saw this when I joined the jurors. When you have somebody that's used to winning in their own way, and they like kind of inject that into what you guys are already doing, that's already really well, like really good. You start opening doors and possibilities that just push you over the edge. It wouldn't surprise me to see them in the championship this year because of the talent that they have on the team building side and the team that they built up just with a lot of really good Pokemon with really good abilities, like, or with really good like utility and roles and stuff like that. I like. Okay, you skipped for a second. Okay,
so as long as we're good now, that's cool.
But yeah, I think they took a couple of risks. If I'm gonna be 100%. The Mons are good, but it's up in the air, at least for me, about how good these Mons are gonna be. I think Palafin in multi-battle, I don't know how good it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Dan kind of alluded to it. It can either be really good or it can be really bad. But if it's really good, woo, Slitherwing, it can be really good or it can be really bad. But if it's really,
I don't think Slitherwing's gonna turn out to be very bad.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
whole thing
it's
is
at
there's
least
stuff here that
it's at least gonna be decent. Like, it could be because it's one of those. It was one of those Pokemon that was kind of on the border between A and S.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it in A is almost always a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I had something else I was gonna say that I forgot.
I think Arboliva is just a good solid pick. I don't think it's like hit or miss. I think that's just a good Pokemon in general.
Good with Slowbro.
Good with exactly.
And
Great
and
Slowbro.
Cerulege. Those three together seem really nice.
I really like it a lot. But yeah, I think
the normal typing on Arboliva is surprisingly good for that trio.
Yeah, Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think in general, I think the composition that they have is pretty good. In my opinion, this is one of my more favorite teams because of how well rounded it is. It reminds me a little bit of the Cheat Drillers a couple seasons back, where they had like this super like A B heavy team, and every week it wasn't pretty. There wasn't like a lot of like 6-0s or 5-0s on the table, but they were just stacking win after win after win after win after win because they had the tools that they needed, and they were good enough players that they knew, hey, we need to win with like we know how to win with these tools.
And I think the balance goes a long way here to like the last couple of teams we looked at. There's some they were quite a bit more top heavy comparatively. This team doesn't have any S tiers at all, so they had an opportunity to go for much more balance. And the last couple of teams we were looking at some of the bottom tiers, kind of like, yeah, you have quite a few of them, and I don't really, I don't see them coming a lot. I don't see them doing a lot of different stuff. I'm kind of lukewarm about some stuff like Clodsire or like Sawsbuck or whatever.
Yeah.
Here, the only Pokemon I feel like that about is Wigglytuff. Everything else I think is pretty solid.
Wigglytuff is intimidate, warder.
I guess, but it's still got an 85 base special attack. It's I've never been impressed by it. If you guys want to, get a competitive boost and sweep with Wigglytuff, fucking go at it, man.
That's why Ray Rizzo hates you.
That was 2014, okay? That was a long time ago. It was a different era. This ain't VGC 2014. Right. So where do you have any final thoughts here? I mean, it's just there's a lot of good stuff, a lot of balance, a lot of good synergy. Speed seems to be the main problem. A lot of good value. Lack of Iron Thorns makes me sad, but
I like a couple Pokemon on here that I think are just going to benefit really well. I do like the power thing. Mm-hmm. I right off the top I mentioned that just because the way multi battles is, you don't have as much room to pivot.
Right.
Which
is VGC. Why we put it in A tier.
Yeah. But I like it a lot still. And I really, really like the Ceruledge. I think when you don't have a very speedy team, having like a really good bulk up user, that can kind of hit with like the Shadow Sneak, stab Shadow Sneaks, defensive Terra typing.
Like Dan said, the priority is going to help a lot to mitigate the lack of speed, like the Jet Punch and Shadow Sneak and First Impression, whatever else they have.
They're gonna have a decent amount of stuff here, and the Glamora too. I think the Glamora. Me and you've had talks about this. You know what helps Glamora out a lot? Grassy terrain.
That's true, and it's gonna be able to take Earthquakes way better than Nihilego, because Nihilego sucks shit so much on the defensive side that like even in grassy terrain, a stray Earthquake can sometimes take it out. Glamora's a little bit better on the physical defense, so I think we're okay there.
Also, something else that I like, I don't really see them using a lot of defensive Terras except for like Ceruledge or Umbreon maybe. There's a lot of good just like go up straight, stab, get that Terra Water Palafin, Terra Flying Salamence, Terra Grass Arboliva.
Terra Steel Salamence is still good.
But I mean you can really do some good damage just, with I think it's a dual wing beat or just Terra Blast, stuff like that. I think there's some good stuff. Terra Dragon Salamence might not be bad either, just for like the Draco Meteors and stuff like that.
Terra Fire Slitherwing I think is going to be good defensively and offensively.
Yeah. I think I like this team a lot. What are we looking at here?
This is I like this team better than the other two we have so far. To me, it's on the border between Spicy and Cookin'. I think I'd rather be conservative and put it in Cookin' now.
Borderline Cookin'.
But I want to. I mean, I know we've said this about all the teams in general. I definitely want to reserve the right to change this one to Spicy. I want to reserve the right to move this one up more so than the other two we have so far.
Yeah.
Feel me on that?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Because we're still pretty early. Okay. Ty's here. Ty, would you
who's next?
Would you like to go up? We run the Pixies. I feel Ty's gonna say yes.
I mean, well, what's how would anybody say no? We're gonna ask you like, hey, who wants to go next? So and so, do you want to go next? Somebody says no. Like, who's gonna say no?
Yeah.
Okay, Ty says yes,
Okay.
because who's gonna say no? Let's go. We're here. Let's do it.
So this is Ty and Nick, Platinum Pixies.
First two picks, absolute shit. Hate it.
Why? Because it's just broken.
I'm kidding. It's really strong. It's very good.
They, you know what this reminds me of a little bit? Funny because they grabbed the same grass type. They were like, you know,
Ryan says he'll say no.
fire, water, grass, good typing in general. Let's go with really powerful fire. The Rogers did that a few seasons back. They grabbed Victini, then came back and grabbed Tapu Fini, and just started that real strong fire water. And they
had Serena too.
Yeah, they had Serena too. And they spent 60 points on that. And they're like, what's a good grass type just in general that'll help? And they grabbed Serena. I think, honestly, it's a nice, solid pick. Iron Bundle is annoying as hell, dude.
The crazy speed you're going to get with Iron Bundle combined with Queenly Majesty is going to be real strong.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically like, it's almost like having a Terra Ghost on your Iron Bundle so you can just Icy Wind freely, but you don't have to spend your Terra on it.
Yeah, absolutely. These top three Pokemon absolutely are terrifying. Chi-Yu next to Iron Bundle is going to be rough.
Yeah, and I think, like, a lot of the time, I would like to see, like, ideally, I would like to see, like, a super fast special attacking grass type next to Chi-Yu to take advantage of the ability and to kill opposing water types before they can hit the fish. But this works just as good because of Freeze Dry. You get, you still get that, what is it, Beads of Ruin boosted super effective attack on water types from the Iron Bundle. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Water plus Freeze Dry is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, there's no Terra that you can defensively Terra into. It's like, oh, cool. You Terra Grass and you were a water or a fire type, you know, to avoid the Hydro Pump. Now I just Freeze Dry you. Oh, you went Terra Water. I just Freeze Dry you. Like, there's nothing that you can do defensively against that typing.
You have to be like a Terra Fire Gastrodon or something.
Yeah, that's really it.
Like, there's very few things that are going to be able to resist you on both ends.
So I think in general that combination is going to be really good. Oh, and they got Pincurchin. So, you know, who even needs booster energy? You just set electric terrain, get that not photosynthesis, the quark drive, get that off, and you're good to go. So I think that those three in general kind of speak for themselves. Let's go through the rest of the team here.
Florges, I don't get that pick, especially
Dude,
that
people
early.
love Florges. Hold on. I don't know why. If you know why people love Florges, drop it in the chat. And no Rule 34 reasons either. All right? I'm talking about competitive Pokemon. All right? I don't want to hear why you also love Meowscarada. Let's see here.
Florges is fine. It's just like I'm
Symbiosis. Oh, so that way you can like move over the life orb after you take the quark drive. Okay,
sure.
That's fair.
I wish it got Trick Room, but it does not.
Okay. I mean, it's fairy type. It's fit. I mean, it's good. You know.
You're also in Gen 7.
Oh, of course. We're not in Gen 7 anymore.
Wait, good. Florges was in Gen. Oh, never mind. That's 7. Okay, never mind. I think you were in Gen 6. Whatever, doesn't matter. Keep going. Scroll down.
Okay.
Let's look.
Let's see.
Oh, it gets Chilling Water now. That's cool.
Trailblaze is not bad. Chilling Water, okay.
I don't know about Trailblaze.
Gets weather stuff. Screens.
Pollen Puff, that's cool.
Yeah, Helping Hand.
I like the synergy it has with Tauros between the type synergy and the Intimidate, because Florges is one of these fairy types that's really bulky on the special side, not so much on the physical side, so Intimidate's going to help a lot with that. Good type synergy, of course, like I said.
Endeavor can be nice.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like it has a huge amount of different stuff it can do, but it's like decent enough at what it does. You know, usable special attack stat, obviously a big special wall. Yeah, seems fine. You know, symbiosis shenanigans. Yeah, seems fine.
Okay, so we know what Florges does. I don't know about the fourth pick, but but the other Tauroses were taken, huh?
Right.
Okay.
So the Paldean Tauros here makes me like the Florges a bit more. Tinkaton is nice. I think it's one of these new Pokemon that I'm very interested to see in draft. Uh, it's got a lot of really cool tools, and it's hard to use it in like a standard VGC metagame. So I want to see what it's got going on here. Adding a Steel type here is quite nice.
Yeah.
Um,
Necessary almost.
Maybe would have been better to have a Steel type that actually resists Steel, but you've got Chi-Yu at least, I suppose. And Pincurchin, I guess. Pincurchin, I have a lot of questions about because I'm just so
voltage,
I'm so accustomed to it having rising voltage, but I would have preferred to see it in like a hard trick room mode with Iron Hands or something, rather than pairing like the slowest thing ever with the fastest thing ever in Pincurchin and Bundle. But can still be good.
And Ryan brings up the biggest problem I have. You have Pincurchin with no trick room.
Yeah, I mean that is an issue. I think the bigger issue is the lack of like tools to stop opposing Trick Room, because Pincurchin can't do that as much. And I also don't, but that also kind of means at the same time I don't mind Pincurchin without Trick Room as much, because it's not really gonna be a huge Trick Room sweeper anyway, since it doesn't have rising voltage. So not a huge deal, but yeah, this I can definitely see this team being very soft to opposing Trick Room, because I don't think Pincurchin's enough.
Yeah, I
And is there anything there? There's nothing on this team that can even learn Trick Room, right?
Yeah.
So you can't even reverse it. That's a problem. Okay. Well, yeah, the stuff that's here is strong. It's clear how it wants to work together. I don't know.
That could help because it gets Mold Breaker, so you can kind of taunt Mold Breaker stuff, but I'm not sure if it does.
Either way, I think what's there is strong and works really well together. Synergy's great, threat level's great. There's some pretty serious holes. The main one being Trick Room.
It sucks because the top of their draft is really good.
Right.
Very, very, very powerful. Let's see. Yeah, Fake Out Mold Breaker is very good as well.
Yeah, I like that.
No taunt. It's Fake Tears, which isn't bad. Its speed stat isn't bad either, because I believe it's 94.
The defensive typing makes it good at like Thunderwave spam. You're gonna put Gigaton Hammer on basically every set. Helping Hand is good. Sword Stance could be interesting if like it's not really something you rely on. I think Sword Stance is something that you put on there if you're like, well, I've got these other things that it wants to do. Maybe it can Sword Stance and get some big damage off. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be huge, but I am looking forward to seeing Tinkaton. So this is weird because the team seems so like in my head it's very polarizing. Like a lot of shit that's really, really good, and then just doesn't cover everything. Like glaring Trick Room weakness most of all. So where do you want to put it?
I'm not gonna lie. From here up, I'm excited. From Pincurchin up, I like all these. Honestly,
I would not include Pincurchin in the stuff I really like.
I think it can be good if they would have filled it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I think I put him in tasty.
Yeah, I think so too. If it weren't for the sheer crazy strength up top,
yeah,
I think I'd probably put it in mild.
But it's really good up top.
Yeah.
Like honestly, they can kind of just bring those four and like really put teams into some binds to where like Altaria could come and clean up.
Base 70 offenses. Let's go.
Hey, it's a lot easier to hit those base 70 when you got Chi-Yu on the field. Lowering the special defensive stuff.
They're gonna set up Sunny Day for themselves and then bring in Altaria and negate it.
Don't sleep on Altaria. That's how we're gonna lose, apparently.
Okay. Well, look, if Altaria really does some good work, and I mean like more than just sitting there for Cloud9, if it does some actual good work other than that, I'll be impressed. All right, so who's next? Who wants to go next? We
got Sableye in chat, and we have Taryn and Dina, obviously.
Okay.
Myself. Maybe we go the Cinnabons here.
Looks like yeah, we can do that. I mean, I kind of wanted to wait for somebody in chat to say, "Hey, me."
There's nobody else.
Give him a second.
Yeah, we're on a little bit of a delay.
Oh no, I'm saying like I think we knocked out everybody that's at least been talking in chat.
Yeah. Well, Luke just showed up. He's Golden Nugget Rollers.
Oh, Luke is a Golden Nugget roller. Okay.
Wakeman says fishies, please. Let's
Okay.
do that. Let's do fishies.
Let's do fishies. Oh yeah, I forgot Wakeman wasn't here. My fault, Wakeman.
Seeing Karen said Primarinas.
Oh, okay.
See, there's
Okay, there
Okay.
we go. There we go. Okay,
We got some
all right.
lurkers.
We're
got
gonna
some
do
lurkers.
fishies first, then we're gonna do Primarinas.
and then
Golden
Nugget
Nuggets.
Rollers.
Okay, that was the order. Okay.
Since we're
There's a lot of people.
yeah. So I know Toxic was here earlier. Is he still here? I mean, we'll do this anyway. I just want to know if he's here for this.
possibly.
Okay.
Let's assume that he is.
Okay.
Let's assume he's watching right now.
Okay. So, Toxic, your team sucks. Wakeman, your team is actually okay. Never mind the fact that they're the same team. Anyway, Roaring Moon first pick this late in the draft. They got pretty lucky. It fell to them. I would have picked it here too, probably.
8 slot. They were the 8
Yeah.
slot.
It's a good pick. Following it up with Torkoal afterward, I think is excellent. Seems pretty obvious, but I'll just go over some of the basics here anyway. I've actually been the main Series 2 team I've been playing has Roaring Moon and Great Tusk with Manual Sun on Murkrow, and I gotta say, I fucking love activating Protosynthesis while I also get to benefit from some different item on a Paradox Pokemon. Roaring Moon does that real nice. So I like that they have that combination. They're not relying on booster energy all the time, although it's still an option when they Torkoal can't really seem to fit. Torkoal covers the beginning of their Trick Room mode. It's one of the slowest things out there. It's obviously a great Trick Room sweeper. I think it's going to do a lot better in draft than it is in regular VGC, because I think there's just some really common metagame threats in VGC that make Torkoal really, really hard to use, which is why it's not seeing a whole lot of success in the format right now. Even in Series 1, it didn't. I think that's going to be a little bit different here if you put aside certain matchups against some stuff that Torkoal's going to have a little more trouble handling. So it covers the Trick Room mode while also giving you the option to activate Photosynthesis, and I think even outside of a Trick Room mode, Torkoal hanging out next to Roaring Moon can be really cool if you're using like a more supportive set. If you want to do stuff like Body Press and Will-O-Wisp, Clear Smog, throw a Yawn is big, throw a fire move like Heat Wave on there for good measure. Bulky support Torkoal I think can be really good even outside of Trick Room. A Azumarill for extra synergy. Good with Roaring Moon and good with Torkoal, although Torkoal, Sun going to present some anti-synergy problems there potentially. For Rigorath to really round out that Trick Room mode with Torkoal and Azumarill. This team is not going to have a lot of Trick Room issues. That's you got a lot of high tier stuff that can and wants to hang out in Trick Rooms. Good shit there. Jumpluff, great redirector. Given that it's even though it's Rage Powder instead of Follow Me, it's good at redirection. You've got Sleep Powder, Chlorophyll shit, whatever else you want to do with Chlorophyll. I think Jumpluff is gonna be pretty good here. Berserker just to throw a steel type in here, give you fake out. Nothing else on the team has fake out. That seems good. I think Berserker's going to do a lot better here than I did last gen. I drafted it last gen and it's tough to use, man, at least in a max format. I think it's going to do a little bit better here. I like the Tough Claws. I like the Steely Spirit, especially because Terra Steel Ironhead is great on Roaring Moon. Steely Spirit next to that thing is going to be strong. And then you got some actually decently valuable C tiers.
Absolutely.
The
Stonejourner.
Yeah, Stonejourner, just for power spot shit, it actually has some good stats it can make use of. Obviously the special defense is going to be a little bit of a problem, but that's, that going in with your Stonejourner. It's power spot's going to be strong. You got Scarf Icy Wind shit with Haunter. I think they said they were going to have a lot of trouble hitting water types with a lot of their shit, so they got Ampharos, and they also have Freeze Dry on Glaceon, so they have ways to hit water types if they're really desperate and they want to dip into those C tiers they have. I don't see a whole lot of problems with this team. I really like it.
This team's honestly. Here's what I'll say. I wish that the Pixies would have kind of done a little bit what they did here.
Okay.
Here's the differences that I'll say. They took a really slow mon that activates photosynthesis. Both the mons are really slow, so whatever. But Farigiraf, I know people are torn about it in chat. It's just a really good Trick Room setter by itself.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of really don't need redirection or anything like that. It can't be faked out. It has fat stats. If you put it next to something that's just really, really offensively overwhelming, that makes it to where you have to deal with both at the same time, it can get Trick Room up pretty much set up whenever it wants. So I think in general, it's going to be real tough to stop, if they decide to go for a Trick Room mode right in the front, because Torkoal can sweep, Azumarill can sweep, as you kind of suggested. There's a lot of things that you can do here. My only issue, and this is really it, there's not a lot of offense that has more than a 70 speed stat besides Roaring Moon. Everything is fairly slow. Besides the Haunt, but even a lot of this stuff, you're really going to need a really good speed control to make sure you're hitting first. But beyond that, everything's pretty bulky too.
You have good Tailwind setters with Jumpluff and Roaring Moon. Mm-hmm. Some of this stuff is going to be, obviously those two in Tailwind perfectly fine, no problem.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff is going to struggle a little bit more in Tailwind because you have a lot of stuff in this 50 to 70 range, which I find to be the most awkward speed tier. You've got Azumarill, Farigiraf, Berserker, Ampharos, Glaceon. Some of those, some of that stuff you're going to be using in Trick Room, obviously, but sometimes you're going to be hurting for fast stuff enough that you want to build one or more of those things fast and put it in Tailwind, which you can do, but it can be a little bit difficult depending on what your opponent has. You're going to need to invest a lot in speed, and then for example, the Azumarill maybe.
I was just going to say, because if we go to, I ran Azumarill at San Diego, and
you liked the bulk on it, especially because you were using AV, and I think the bulk is going to be.
I had to throw 116 EVs into speed to make sure you outspeed Garchomp in Tailwind.
Right, and there's going to be
a lot of speed
in
certain spreads.
There's going to be a lot of times when you need more than that, and then there's even going to be some times with against certain booster energy users where Azumarill in Tailwind or even Glaceon in Tailwind actually just can't outspeed.
Yeah,
you can set up Tailwind, cool. If there's a booster energy iron bundle sitting on the field, you're still slower.
So that is literally the only thing. Everything else I think is really good because they have the bulk to be able to take a lot of hits. You look at a lot of these, and just in general, they have good bulk. I mean, if you look at the first four, all four of those, besides the physical side on Roaring Moon, has decent bulk. And even then, 105 HP is still nothing to sneeze at, So I think in general, I think the team is really good. I think it was really, really, really well put together. This is seriously just nitpicking. Their speed tiers aren't as fast as you would like.
It's kind of nitpicking.
But,
I think it's a genuine it's not a major problem, but it's if you're looking at transactions, to me in this moment, I'm kind of feeling like that's what you need to be looking at most of all.
But other than that, I think it's pretty good here. I think. What are you thinking for?
I'm thinking like
fishies here. I like them in cooking. It's almost spicy too.
I was kind of thinking like low range spicy.
Are they gonna be our first spicy?
Maybe, I don't know. It's on the border. It's on the border between spicy and cooking for me as well.
Okay, I think we throw them in spicy.
I like it just a tiny bit more than the Nebby Backpackers.
Yeah. It's so tiny bit too because there's so little. Like you see, 1, 2, 3, 5 teams here, right? Honestly, the Pixies go and grab something like Farigiraf, right? And they put like a good slow trick room mode on their team, something like that, or just something that can answer trick room, like a good taunt user or anything like that. They do that, and they're honestly like borderline cooking into spicy as well, because their team just in general is really good. I think that they just kind of handle a lot of good things just in general.
So Wakeman was saying 50 to 70 is definitely awkward, but also really nice for teams with strong tailwind and strong trick room, and that's fair. That's true. But it also means that all of the Pokemon in that range are like they can function inside of both, but they're going to be a little bit more mediocre in either setting. And it's not as big of a problem with Trick Room because you have the Torkoal, which is so goddamn fucking slow, and it forces people to have to like, if they want to underspeed you, they have to underspeed base 20 instead of just base 50, which is a big deal. I think it's more of an issue on the fast end.
Agreed. Okay, so next we are going to do the Primarinas.
Yes. So this is another team with no S tier, which given the way that we set up the tier list and the point values here is, I was a little bit surprised that we got any teams with no S tier.
Yeah, despite 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did a good job too, honestly.
Not to mention, like
the 13th pick.
Yes, and they didn't even go for A tier round 1. They went straight for the fire type Tauros, which is strong and valuable for the tier. I find it to be a weird first pick.
I think when you're at 13, you're really looking for value. And you're really trying to...
But in value in B tier?
If they found... I mean, the Splash Bros, grabbed an A tier right before them, I believe. The Backpackers grabbed an A tier. And then before that, it was just... So, I could see them just being like, fuck it, we'll go with the Paldean Tauros and MB, just make sure we get it. And then they went Sandy Shocks to Spathra. I mean, it's a good combo too.
Definitely a good combo. Yeah. I would have, if I were them, I probably would have gone for that combo since they had like a pseudo wheel at pick number 13 out of 14. I might have gone for those two
in the front.
Like the first 2 rounds, and then try to maybe come back to the Tauros. I don't think the Tauros is like Tauros might be gone by the time it comes back to them because it was really highly valued.
Yeah, it was.
But to me, it doesn't really seem like that big of a deal losing it. If you start off with that first combo, like you can still go in a lot of different directions. Tauros is not necessary for those. You can get other fighting types to hang out with Espathra. You can get the water type one if you really want to, or just even the fighting type one if that's the only one available. Whatever. Like, I also first pick, like, putting aside the Sandy Shocks and Espathra combo, if I were them, I probably would have gone for one of the high value A tiers that hadn't been picked yet. Like, Nebby Backpackers got the Salamence and Slitherwing. You could have gone for either one of those in A tier. You could have gone for the Iron Thorns in A tier. There's good high value stuff there that I would have gone for first. Now the team still turned out good. Yeah. Like, it's still a good team.
They have 5 A tiers.
Not the place where I would have started. Yeah.
I mean, and I think they got 5 decent A tiers too. I mean, you have the Sylveon. Yeah. I think Sylveon's a really, really good pick. A good value for that. Just in general, it's just a good.
You think it's good value for A tier?
I think so. I think it's a really underrated Pokemon just in general.
I
I
mean,
mean, you were familiar with it in this meta.
I love Sylveon a lot. It was maybe my MVP on my Series 1 team, but I think in draft with like Paradox and Ruin Pokemon, I think Sylveon
Definitely
I don't have an issue with it in A tier. I think it just fits comfortably in A tier. I don't think it's high value there.
Well, it's fit well with Paradox Pokemon. It's still done well, even with Paradox Pokemon in the mix.
I haven't seen very much of it.
Yeah, it's. I think it was like one of the top 15 Pokemon in the at Orlando or something like that. It was still really highly rated.
That's surprising.
Yeah. So it's still a good Pokemon. I think Klefki is also really good as well. Just good utility.
They got two really interesting Trick Room setters that can do a lot of other shit because Klefki gets Trick Room now. So they've got that Toad Scroll for Spore Rage Powder stuff, and Klefki, which we know all the prankster shit that Klefki does. So and both of them can set Trick Room also.
Yeah, and one of them can get roared out, and one of them can't.
Depends on the speed of the roar, but
they're gonna run fast Klefki.
Yes. Speaking of Klefki, when are Alberto and Gavin playing?
They probably already played.
No, stream's going pretty late. It's only like mid-afternoon over there.
Somebody tell us when the
I'll
OCIC is going to be.
Tell us a little bit more about this team. What do you like? What do you dislike?
I like everything, honestly, except for the C tier picks.
Hold on, I'm going to defend Scyther here a little bit. I think Scyther could have been a lot better last gen if not for Dynamax. It's a little bit and it didn't have Tailwind. It had a Tailwind via transfer, I guess, but whatever. The stats are surprisingly good. It has the same base stat total as Scizor. Go figure. I don't know why, but it's Terra's gonna help it out.
Eviolite too.
Eviolite. It's got decent stats for Eviolite. Still has Technician, good speed stat, good attack stats, access to Swords Dance, Tailwind. Can do decent damage. I think it's absolutely my favorite of the 3 C tiers here.
I was gonna say I kind of don't really have a problem with the Scyther. I more have a problem with the C tiers just put together in general, like those 3. But I think that's really it. Like I said, it's like the last team with the speed tiers. It's like just kind of nitpicking the low half of the roster because everything else I like Toad Scroll a lot. I mean, for those who don't know, Otto, who was in PLDL,
LPL. Nobody really knows what all the letters are.
He tried out for the SoCal USPA team, and we required them to kind of like do a little ladder, challenge, and a little trial. And he got like into the high 1800s with Toad Scroll. Like absolutely just was demolishing people with Toad Scroll. And it was coming to games and putting in work. And was one of the big reasons why we decided to choose him. Obviously, he's a good player anyway. He puts in a lot of good prep. So I am a Toad Scroll believer. And the Sandy Shock Espathra, Karen also came in and said that it sets up Trick Room as well.
I mean, it can.
So
I'd be surprised if you got a lot of use out of that. The Toad Scroll and Klefki seem like
But the Sandy Shock Spath is really good. The Blaze Tauros kind of adds a little bit of balance to where they can kind of use to slow the game down if they really need to.
They also have Frost Breath stuff with Cryogonal and Tauros.
With Cryogonal and Tauros, correct.
And since this Tauros is a little bit slower than the Kanto one, it's a lot easier to consistently make your Cryogonal outspeed it.
True, because it's 105 base speed compared to 110, or to 100 instead of 110. I think in general, I think this is actually a pretty decent team. I like it.
Are you worried it's not slow enough?
Yeah, that could be an issue, and that was actually an issue last season for the Primarinas. Evan was on the team at this point too. They had like stuff like Spectrier and things like that. They did really well with it. They were one of the top teams last season, and I guess it was last year too. But they were one of the top teams, but they absolutely did suffer in Trick Room. When we played them in the regular season, that was the way that we were able to get through, is just kind of setting up Trick Room on them and putting pressure down through there. But they had that Togetic they never clicked follow me on. You guys are, if the Primarinas are in here, you guys are gods, because there were so many times where it would have benefit you to just.
Well, that's Chaos Knight Rider right there, who just said Espathric and Cedric.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Chaos Knight Rider did a really good job last season. He was one of the main focal points of the team. And yeah, they did a fantastic job with that Togetic. They were like constantly yawning things or helping him.
Well, they're going to do the same thing here. They're just going to click Spore all the time.
Yeah, so oh yeah, true, right? So I really really like this team. You're right, it is a little bit on the fast end, and a little bit frail.
Not so much on the fast end, just on the not slow enough
Yeah.
end. I mean, I guess it's weird. I don't know that they're really fast enough either. The
Lots of base hundreds.
they've got the speed boost on Espathra helps a lot. Thunderwave Klefki helps a lot. Do they have any Tailwind set? Scyther. Okay, there's
Yeah.
Scyther. So you can use Scyther for that. Seems like a decent Pokemon to like throw out there and sack with Tailwind if you feel like you need to sack it and get some more offense in. That is if you want to use like a more frail offensive set with Focus Sash or something instead of an Eviolite, or that seems cool. So speed control, I can see being a little bit better. Trick Room presence, I can see being a little bit better. If those were patched up, I would put this in spicy.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same.
As it stands right now, I think it's gonna hover around the Backpackers territory, but I think I still like the Nebby Backpackers slightly more. How do you feel about that?
I don't know why I'm doing this. So don't put any credence into me moving these around. It doesn't mean anything.
All the status. Yes, they have all the status.
Yeah, you can only run Lumberry on one Pokemon too.
What has Will? Oh, Tauros probably has Will-O-Wisp. Okay.
All right. So we threw them in the cooking. Okay, let's see.
We had one that was gonna be next, right?
Yeah,
who was
yeah.
next?
Geez, I just said.
Oh, Cinnabons? Is Ryan still here?
No,
oh no,
we had
Nugget
another
Rollers.
one. The Nugget Rollers was, yeah.
Okay. What do you think?
I think I need a drink.
You start. I'll grab that.
Cool. All right, Nugget Rollers. I think they had a top 3 pick. Oh no, fourth pick.
Their first pick is very good.
Chien Pao, yes, correct. I'm. Let's see. You guys didn't, and you guys only went with one S tier, which is fair. I was really expecting you guys to grab the Dragonite as well, but that's fine. Indeedee plus Drifblim, I think is really good. Let's see. Gardevoir, I think is a pretty good value pick in the B tier. I liked it a lot, as well as Toxtricity. Oh, you guys went with the Iron Treads. I like Iron Treads a lot. I don't want to make it seem like I don't like it. I think it's decent. I just wonder if Dragonite might have been a little bit better in that slot for like the Choice Band, Terra Normal, E-Speed stuff next to Chien Pao. It just cleans up so many things. But in general, I love the speed control that you have here. Indeedee Male is really underrated. Good value in B tier. Arcanine is an all-around good Pokemon in A tier. I think one of the top A tiers. People were saying like Azumarill, Palafin were good A tiers. I agree with that. I also think Arcanine's on that slot just because how versatile it can be on a week-to-week matchup. But I think you have a decent Trick Room mode with the Appleton. I actually do like Appleton a lot. I think that we're just waiting for the one team that can like really take advantage of it and do really well with it. I think Hector did well with it once in MBL or MDL.
Yeah, that's actually a good segue to what I wanted to say about Appleton. It seems like you can use it as a Trick Room sweeper if you have some help for it. To me, it seems like something that's going to be a little bit better at like stopping the opponent's momentum in Trick Room rather than being a really strong Trick Room sweeper itself. Like, it has the speed for it. The 100 special attack is a little bit underwhelming. It's hard to turn that into a sweeper, especially when you don't have like a nasty plot or something like that. It is really strong defensively. Grass dragon typing with thick fat is awesome. It's a grass type that resists fire essentially. That's kind of nuts.
Terra.
Yeah, you can use there's probably a variety of different good Terra types that'll work for it. Especially with thick fat, you can get some benefit out of that depending on what your Terra type is. You can do ripen stuff maybe if you feel like you have a good enough Terra type to just get rid of the 4 times weakness to ice. It's a fat Iron Defense body press user. It can do like Leech Seed stall stuff, although that's not going to be as good as the body press shit, considering the timer.
Amnesia.
Yeah, you can do that. You can boost both your defenses if you feel like you need to. It's going to be really hard to kill if you build it that way. So I think that's more the role it has in Trick Room. I don't really see much here that's going to be a monster in Trick Room. And the only Trick Room setters you have are not really ideal for functioning in Trick Room. Gardevoir is also going to be... It's going to be sometimes hard to get it to survive long enough to set Trick Room. And DD is going to be a little bit better because it's still going to be immune to Fake Out since it's setting terrain. But a lot of the time I think you're going to want to use it for other stuff. It's going to work well with the offenses on this team, and you definitely want to be doing Psychic Seed Tailwind shit with Drifblim. So I don't really see this team going Trick Room very often. I like it seems very threatening. I like a lot of the offensive powerhouses here.
Yeah.
I kind of like Primeape as like a value pick
I think
for
Primeape's really good.
yeah, I mean it's like stats are decent enough to use it offensively. It's, pretty frail still, but can be good with... Probably not going to use Eviolite on it much, but it can be good with some offensive items, especially a Scarf. Defiance, great. I like the inclusion of a fighting type here. It's good for the tier. A lot of offense coming out from like Chien-Pao, Iron Treads, and DD, and Primeape helps that. I'm not sure what the Arcanine is doing here. It doesn't really seem to fit with the offensive style.
They said that it's the choice span, Terra normal, E-speed. The only thing that I'll say about that is the reason why I like Dragonite, and I think it's worth the points, is Inner Focus. I think Inner Focus is such a fantastic ability for that. Yeah. Not to be able to get faked out, not to be able to get intimidated. A lot of these things that teams normally try to do to slow down like an E-speeder is usually worth it. But lower, you're talking about one of the top A tiers, a good A tier just in general. I understand the argument for both. One of the things that I do like about this too is if you look at these attack stats, they're nothing to really write home about. 120, 110, 112, 105. It's not that big of a deal. But when you add that with Chien-Pao's ability, it really takes them over the top to be able to pick up the KOs that you might not normally pick up had it not been out on the field. I think in general, it's real good. You have the Dark Ice type. You have a Psychic type here to kind of help out with it a little bit. You have Fighting types to help out with it.
And I can see that being really good with the Scarf Primeape too. I think Scarf Primeape is something we're going to see a lot with this team.
Mm-hmm. Moxie and Defiant.
Moxie? I don't think it gets Moxie.
You sure Primeape doesn't get Moxie?
It's Defiant, Vital Spirit.
Let's find out.
Something else. Moxie. I know Annihilate gets Inner Focus. Does Primeape also have Inner Focus? Anger Point. Okay. So no Moxie, but that's fine.
Okay.
Defiant is totally good enough.
Does it technically get Eviolite too?
Yeah, but look at its stats. I mean, the defensive stats don't really... you can, but nah. Let's not. I would not bother with an Eviolite on Primeape generally, unless you have a team that appreciates it somehow. But this team looks like it really wants Scarf on its Primeape, because Scarf... I don't think there's a lot of other stuff that really wants to use the Scarf. Like, maybe in DD if you're not doing Drifblim stuff. But the Scarf lets you run Adamant a lot of the time. You take advantage of Chien-Pao's ability. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good.
You get a Psychic Spam mode with the Gardevoir and DD stuff too, which I think is nice. Because, lost Expanding Force. Gardevoir still gets Expanding Force, right? Did they take that away?
Armor is the only thing that gets it.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. At least you
Um,
still have some type of psychic spam stuff, even if it's just psychic.
yeah, I
It's
mean,
not like there wasn't psychic spam before expanding force.
the fairy typing on Gardevoir I think is a lot more significant for this team. Because you have psychic already, and fairy seems somewhat important. I like having a good fairy type with my like psychic dark fighting combo. So that seems decent. It's and it's good with Indeedee because they're not sharing weaknesses. The secondary normal and secondary fairy typing are nice with each other, so it's a good way to get double psychic if you want that. I'm curious about the toxicity. It seems fine. I'm sort of wondering what it's for. It's not bad, but you know, it's feels like it's just sort of there.
I like toxicity. I'll tell you the one that I'm confused about, and they can come in and tell me. I don't know about iron treads. S tier value, you know. I just feel like there might have been other better things for them to get. Maybe the steel type was really important for them. The steel, right?
I think that might be a good enough reason just for more because steel and ground are just they're just really good types to have on that you
general,
really want on any
draft.
team.
True.
And they're not found anywhere else on this draft, so I think that seems fine, although it is maybe a little bit weird they picked it that early because it seems like something they might want to go for later when they're starting to realize like we might need some steel and ground. It's the only thing here that wants to be using booster energy, so the
True.
item pressure here is not too bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I don't know. I generally like it.
Ty says
seems
steel
alright.
roller plus psychic terrain plus sword of ruin hurts.
Sure. Yeah, I mean if you can set all that up, then sure. I think I don't think you necessarily need all those combos with Iron Treads. I think Iron Treads can be a monster on its own by just
I do like it as a Pokemon in general.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just a little bit more wary about the team about it on this team. I mean, I don't want to like really go into it because normally I kind of when we usually would put a criticism on a Pokemon, we would try and find like one or two replacements that we would like replace with it. I don't really want to go too much into like that, but I thought that
there's
in
not
general,
much for that because it's the only thing that has the Excadrill typing in the
Yeah.
game. So
I'm surprised like stuff like Tyranitar Volcarona didn't go, but
there had to be something from S tier left on the
yeah,
board.
True. And then there was another one that I was surprised it didn't go. I think it was like an 8 tier somewhere.
The biggest surprise to me for Pokemon that did not get drafted was Iron Thorns.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Rollers need them treads to start rolling, bro. True.
So okay, let's go back to the doc.
To their team.
Yeah, to the yeah. I think I like their offensive modes. I feel like with the Arcanine, it's kind of good, kind of bad. You have the option to run a little bit more of a bulky style team rather than just going hyper offense.
True.
Even though the rest of the team, like I don't know how much the rest of the team really wants to do that. And it can kind of contribute to the offense of the team, but it's not going to be as good as something like Dragonite, where that you want to do the same thing with. I'm a little bit split on the Arcanine because it like I've never really been a big fan of Arcanine in draft because it seems like one of those Pokemon that's much more annoying to go up against rather than it being like good for you to actually use.
Oh, I love Arcanine.
Yeah, I don't. But you know, it seems okay. I'm sure they'll make it work somehow. And then the trick room issue I think is an issue.
Yeah.
They're not always going to be just easy food for trick room, but sometimes they will be. So I would drop them in tasty, I think.
I think I would agree with that. I think they're yeah, I think these three teams in general feel very similar in strength. Like very high end like damage output, and you know, might be able to power through teams a lot of the times.
But it doesn't have everything there for a complete team.
They're gonna have some 6-0s though. Like a couple of these, like I'm
Those are
convinced
hard
that
to
these
get
are-
even for hyper offense.
Yeah, maybe not 6, but 5-0s. You know, some really big margins of victory, and then they're gonna have some really close losses where they just didn't have the bulk or the damage output to really sustain them. And not saying that all three of these teams are like super similar, but like they do have like really offensive styles. You look at what was it, the Splash Bros, who were kind of over here. You know, just a lot of this stuff. The Pelipper Floatzel stuff's gonna go in. You know, Iron Jugulus is really good. You're gonna see more of them with like a support, like fake tier set stuff like that. King Gambit's really good. You're gonna see them just kind of like blow through stuff. Same with this ridiculousness right here.
Yeah.
GZ, like there's just so much that if you catch somebody off guard, you know, Chi-Yu, Iron Bundle, Florges, Serena is gonna really do a lot of damage. So. And then same with the rollers. I think the rollers have a good setup to kind of like really just take teams.
But even with that, those kind of hyper offense styles or modes, like you can just as easily end up winning with like one or two Pokemon left, because a lot of the time what you want to do with hyper offense is like get ahead a little bit and make trades and then maybe get more of your offense in for free rather than actually switching around. Mm-hmm. So Pokemon dying on a hyper for your own hyper offense team, it's not always such a bad thing. So you
want
could
the free switch.
Yeah, I mean, you could still dominate a game and like the differential comes out to, you know, +1 or +2 just because that's how your team is meant to be played. So I could see it going both ways.
Right, we have 7 more teams left.
Yeah, who's left in here? Who's still here?
Figure that. I'm gonna go back.
Okay.
I'm gonna just climb over you.
Okay. All right, folks. Who is still here? Who wants to go next? Haven't looked at the chat in a little bit. Yes. You think Appleton is a better Ferrothorn? That is that is an opinion you can have, I suppose. I don't know if it's one that I share, but I feel you. Ryan is still here. Okay, when Anthony gets back from the pisser, we'll do the Omaha Cinnabons. I appreciate the team name so much, by the way. I don't think I've gotten a chance to mention that before, but like spot on name. And you got the Magnets gif when you drafted the Magneton. It's just I like it a lot. Good shit. I was a little late on finishing Better Call Saul. I finished it maybe, I don't know. When did it finish? I finished it like a month or two ago. But yeah. Good show, good team name. Magnets, bitch. Let's head over to where the fuck is his mouse? There it is. Let's head over to your team page. Gifts are all Gabe. Okay. Props to Gabe. Good, strong gift game. Omaha Cinnabons. Okay. Let's get the Dragapult out of the way. I'm very curious. Am I still? Yeah. Okay. I'm good. I'm very curious about the Dragapult pick being first. I know Dragapult is something that you, Ryan, have drafted in the past. Although we, of course, had Dynamax at the time. It did not seem to me like a top tier, like S tier. It seemed to fit well in the tier. I don't think it was like bottom S tier, but like I'm surprised to see it picked so soon. So if you have any insight there on why that happened the way that it did, I would love to hear it. And Anthony is back. Okay. Oh, you got more. I haven't even opened my next one yet. Christ. I was just asking Ryan why the fuck they went for Dragapult first.
Sableye, Ryan?
Yes. Luckily, we only have one Ryan actually playing this season. So.
Oh, and Terran's here too. We were making Taryn wait. Sorry, we were saving the best for last.
We could.
Taryn.
Well, if
We're
she's
saving the top team for last. The greatest team of all time is going last.
I mean, we can. If she's here, we can do them. You next.
No, we have the Cinnabons up.
No, I mean after
that.
yes.
Yeah.
So versatility, I get it, but like, it does have a lot of versatility. I like the versatility a lot. That was, I think, one of the best, one of the main reasons that I thought it should be an S tier. I think actually, Ryan, you and I talked about that a little bit when we were first like deciding where things were going. So I get it. Believe me. I get it. I'm surprised that was enough for you to value it so highly. I mean, first round in the, well, you guys were around the middle, not. I mean,
They were the ninth pick.
Yeah, so picking it.
I'm gonna see what they got here. Hold on, because it might be worth it. Grimsnar was taken, NDD was taken, Iron Hands was taken, and Roaring Moon was taken.
So I think all the shit that was like obviously top tier, yeah, it makes sense. Like you didn't get any of those. Like you're not passing up one of those big picks like Roaring Moon, or Iron Hands to go for Dragapult. I still feel, well, there's definitely a lot of shit left that I would have picked before Dragapult.
Oh, you guys have Matt Tidd on your team? Dude, that guy's pretty good. I've played him at regionals before. He's pretty good.
Oh yeah. Am I tripping, or did he win High Roller, or did he just place really highly? I thought he won one of the High Roller seasons. The season that
I remember. I played him before. He's pretty good.
Okay.
You might be like he might be one of those players. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like you look up old 2013 BGC like stats, and you're like, oh, there's Matt Tidd right there. Okay, cool. He's just been dominating for so long. You just.
Speaking of old 2013 players, has Gavin won Australia yet?
Oh, and yeah, Ryan says he did win High Roller.
Oh, okay. So I was right about that. Okay, got it. Yeah. So he's obviously a terrible player if he's gonna win a shit league like that. So.
Oh man!
Sorry, Ryan. Sorry you have such terrible teammates. I kid. He's probably gonna be a fucking powerhouse. I'm sure these guys are gonna do well. So anyway, let's talk about the rest of the team, not just Dragapult. Water Tauros, Iron Moth, Screamtail. Okay, Screamtail is something I'm very fascinated by here. I am, and you. After you drafted Screamtail, I noticed you drafted Scovillain with no sun, and you drafted Satitan with no hail. Screamtail is a real easy booster energy user for your speed, and it gets all the weather moves. So, manual sun and or hail with booster energy Screamtail, that's kind of what I've got my eye on. Also, Scovillain has like Rage Powder and Moody in addition to like being a fire type with Chlorophyll. Scovillain's just fucking weird. I love it, and I just want it to do well.
I'm glad to see it go pretty high, fifth round. You know, because it was something that we were looking at too. That we were like,
oh really?
This could be cool. Yeah, I like Scovillain. I like it a lot.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah, it's got a cool little utility that it has with it.
Terrence said juniors just wrapped. We could probably get this done. Well, probably not going to get it done before Gavin and Alberto start, but whatever. That's fine.
Seniors, they're going to take 30 minutes to get to seniors.
I don't think it's going to be that.
Then after seniors goes, I'm pretty sure Miguel said that he was going to pump iron on camera for like 35 minutes. So we may want to tune into that.
Okay.
But yeah. I gotta be honest.
Yeah?
It's always tough for me to like review Ryan's teams.
Why is that?
He does him and Fiona when they were around, and now even with the stuff that they do. Besides last year, it was very clear what they were doing last year. Like Yveltal and then support Yveltal because that's gonna win, right? But a lot of their teams is just like, I just have to trust that Ryan and Fiona or Ryan and Gabe are gonna just do well with it, and they usually do.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, not gonna lie, it's a Titan. Looking a little bit weird.
As soon as they drafted Titan, I was like, okay, hold on a second. They have 2 weather users with no real weather. How many weather moves does Screamtail get? Turns out all of them. So,
yeah, Snowscape too, huh?
Yeah. So that was the first thing I looked at when I saw they drafted Titan. It's like, all right, that's probably going to be their weather user of choice. I'm sure Iron Moth gets Sunny Day. Probably not Hail, but Dragapult? Does Dragapult get any weather moves? I actually have no idea. It's probably going to be the Screamtail doing that most of the time anyway, but it's going to be fun. I think this team is more intriguing and fun than it is good in my head.
They're gonna make finals.
Well, obviously they're gonna go far. They were Ryan's one of our best players in the league. He and Gabe got all the way to finals last season. They're gonna do well. Obviously, I'm thinking more about the team. I don't like.
Yeah.
I think the Poltegeist is a good C tier pick. I'm less confident about the Bombardier and Go-Goats and Magneton. They seem like decent role fillers, extra, add on this type that we don't have kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Poltegeist is a little bit, you already have ghosts, so I don't know. I would like Poltegeist better if there was redirection. Scovillain has Rage Powder, never mind.
Oh, only gets Sunny Day.
Oh, okay. Well, that's probably fine then.
Screamtail then? You go Sunny Day Dragapult to proc the Protosynthesis, so that way you can set Rain Dance even faster.
Rain Dance for what? Tauros.
For Aqua Jet Tauros, of course.
Damn. Okay. So anyway, they're gonna win the league off of that.
Yeah.
So I've been babbling a lot. What do you think?
I feel Ryan's gonna hate me. I feel like we're gonna put him right here in Tasty, and then he's gonna make. Finals.
Look, I think that's completely fine. I don't. It's on the border between Tasty and Cookin' for me. I'm not sure. I guess if you feel like it's Tasty, then we go Tasty. That.
If you say Cookin', I'll put him in Cookin'.
I'm not just saying Cookin'. I'm saying border.
I'm just scared. You don't have to play Ryan. I'm still in the league.
You don't have to play him either. He's not on your schedule.
You're gonna be like, see, if this was the Burnouts, you would have been like, I don't like Magneton, Bombardier, Poltegeist, and then that's how they beat us. They just sweep us with Bombardier.
I mean, Brian initially wanted Bombardier in B tier, and then ended up in C, and he picked it. So I'm hoping he shows us why it's actually kind of good, even though look at the
his
stats.
Teammates didn't hold him back, unlike Dan's teammates who held him back from choosing Iron Thorns.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true. All right, well, yeah, I'm comfortable putting this up in Tasty. That seems fine. Yeah, strong team. This is one of the most. I'm curious about this team, maybe more than any other team.
Yeah.
Especially with the Screamtail and Scovillain. I want to see those.
Okay, now we're doing the Roger.
It's not that hard to say. Rural jurors.
No, it's just the accent. Honestly, it's literally just the accent.
What, like the English accent from
the Eastern? No, like the Eastern like the East Coast accent. Midwest. They have a hard time saying that.
Well, East Coast or Midwest? Pick one.
See, it's everything past Texas is East Coast. I don't know what's hard to understand about that. It's just East Coast.
Okay. Everything past, so Ohio is East Coast, even though they're
for sure Ohio is East
landlocked.
Coast.
Or maybe they're not landlocked. Are they
there's
bordering one of the Great Lakes?
Yeah, there's lakes around there.
Whatever. Who cares?
Big lakes.
Kansas and Nebraska, they're East Coast, right?
Definitely. For sure. They call that the East Coast Dust Bowl. And that's not just a football game they play over there. Sorry. Anyway. The rural jurors. See, we have an easy way to say it because,
Because we talk normally.
Yeah, we talk normal. We talk like normal human beings. All right, go ahead. Rip us to shreds.
All right, this team is shit. Moving on.
All right.
Is there a tier below bland? I don't know.
Blah. Blah.
Yeah, it's just called vomit?
Uh,
Yeah. No, you did not, Wakeman. No. Sorry. That didn't happen. That was all in your head. You're dreaming right now. Anyway, this team's kind of shit, but it's also really good. Iron Valiant, just also one of these new Pokemon that I think just looks really fun and strong. Combination with Armarouge seems good. You guys really wanted a psychic type. You were looking at Armarouge, and I told you Redacted is probably going to take it before it gets back to you. Don't even dream of picking Armarouge. And then they took Brute Bonnet instead. And then you were like, well. I was like, all right.
Yeah, so the story is that we got Iron Valiant, and I was like, I want a fire type or a psychic type. One of the two. There was a couple things that we were looking at. They're escaping me right now. We always wanted Bisharp. We always wanted Kilowattrel.
Kilowattrel was big because it's going to be good. It's got a lot of synergy with Armarouge and Valiant. Type-wise, it can hit water types, can hit flying types. That's good. Ground immunity is really important for this team because you ended up with a lot of ground weaknesses. Yeah. Gyarados helps a lot with that too, so that's good. And it takes a lot of the pressure off of Iron Valiant, so you're not locked into like booster energy, icy wind shit all the time. You've got a Tailwind option. So and it's an Intimidate deterrent, as is Bisharp, so you can use a physical Iron Valiant, which is usually the preferred set. You can use that pretty freely, while still having the option to go special if that's better in a particular week.
Yeah, I like having the Intimidate. Waving it away with competitive or with
deterrent.
Deterrent, thank you. The Intimidate deterrent with competitive and defiant was nice for us here, especially with Snarl. So Armarouge can be threatened by Snarl a lot. So having that too.
Bisharp, I think everything here functions really well synergy wise, like type synergy wise, and a lot of other stuff like speed control and Intimidate deterrents and shit like that. There's just a tremendous amount of synergy in that top four. I like that a lot. Now, I was a little bit less privy to the conversations surrounding these next two picks, the Spiritomb and Foongus. Tell us about those.
Well, we like Spiritomb because it's kind of gives us a little bit of mode that Foongus isn't going to be threatened by the psychic types. I think a lot of the times one of the things with Foongus and with Spiritomb, or with a Trick Room Setter and Foongus, is you want to be able to have like defensive switch-ins for those things. And I thought just Spiritomb in general, with being immune to Fake Out, having the Dark typing, Amoonguss being able to redirect away fairy type attacks, it being pretty bulky, having access to things like Sucker Punch, to kind of like get the Armarouge going. If we want to like set Trick Room with it, you do Sucker Punch stuff with like Weakness Policy. It's nice. Mm-hmm. And I think Dark typing in general, when we were kind of looking at it, and we really liked the way that it kind of covered Iron Valiant and Armarouge's weaknesses. And I don't know. I felt when we were talking about it a lot, we felt that like, first off, Slowbro, Slowking, a lot of these other like really powerful, really good Trick Room Setters were gone. Things that normally I would like to take. But having like something that's a ghost type that also sets Trick Room was kind of important to us.
Yep.
And then just you kind of throw in an extra dark type on there, we liked a lot. I don't know how much more it's gonna do than that. It gets access to things like Will-O-Wisp and stuff like that. But Snarl, yeah. But I think just in general, it reminds me a little bit of like Runerigus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, gets taunt, stuff like that. Just
probably helping hand, I imagine.
Yeah, so it can kind of help stuff out a lot. We went for it that early because all of the Trick Room setters started going. And
that makes sense.
We didn't want Armarouge to be, and I think Valiant gets it too, gets Trick Room, but like we didn't want those to be our primary Trick Room setters. So
especially because Armarouge is going to want to go fast sometimes.
Yeah. So with weak armor stuff, and like there was, that was like kind of one of the main things that we had looked at. The other stuff you were a little bit more privy to, the Rev of Room. We wanted a good fairy resist, like a really good, because Bisharp didn't really do that. Armarouge was it's okay, but you want multiple ones, especially with the amount of fairy weaknesses that you have.
The problem, like pre-Rev of Room with fairy types, is that you don't have something that can switch into a fairy hit and resist it and hit it back. Like Armarouge resists it, but it doesn't have steel or poison.
Yeah.
And Bisharp, being part dark type, is neutral. So Rev of Room kind of helps with that, even though it adds to your ground weaknesses, but you do have 2 ground immunities, so I think that ends up being okay.
Yeah.
Rev of Room is also, I think, going to be a pretty good Terra candidate. So I think, like Terra, flying or like grass might be weird because you retain the fire weakness, but I don't know.
It's got decent enough bulk too. I mean, not in the special defense set, but like
okay.
If you want to go into like Terra Steel just to get rid of the ×4 weakness that you have, you can eat an Earthquake with 80, 90, at ×2 weak, and be
depending on what's Earthquaking you.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Especially like a Terra or a Life Orb or things like that. Like absolutely, all those things matter.
You get like a Great Tusk sitting in front of you. Yeah, you're gonna die probably still, but
with the other one, not to go but like too much into like the in-depth stuff, but like we wanted an Ice type in C tier. We were looking at Avalugg plus Crabominal. I think we had talked about it before, even before this, but it's really underrated. Like the stats on Crabominal. I guess Iron Fist, all the punches, base 132. Oh no, it doesn't get fire punches. Base 132 attack stat, 43 speed. Was a fighting type, which we
Ice really Hammer is Iron Fist boosted.
Yeah, we really went for this. If you can tell right when you look at it, the fighting psychic dark.
Yeah,
and we built everything kind of around that mode to try and like supplement it. You mentioned having a good fairy type. That's one of the reasons why we like Valiant a lot in general, was because it was like a good fairy type. But if I were to talk about some of the weaknesses that the team has, if we're being like straight, this is probably one of the weaker Trick Room setups that we've had previously. It might be one of the stronger ones in the league, but we're so used to having such a dynamic Trick Room mode. Last season we had like Pincurchin and Guzzlord combined with like Runerigus, and then those 3 in general really worked well together.
That's just what you get with this Dex.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And I think it's not an issue really here, because let's look at Crabominable as like, this is your Trick Room sweeper. If Crabominable hypothetically was like the slowest thing on the team, I don't even think that's that bad. 43's kind of okay. There's a lot of like really good base 50 Pokemon that want to hang out in Trick Room, so you're underspeeding those. There's not a lot of like base 30 stuff like Caparaj's in the game, but there's no like there's no Snorlax, no Amoonguss didn't get drafted, so that's cool.
Yeah.
So Fungus being on the squad makes it way better. Spiritomb having 35 speed is really nice, because it's got those like Will-O-Wisp Snarl stuff, offensive support in Trick Room. I think your Trick Room speeds are completely. I don't think there's a problem here at all with Trick Room speeds. I think it's great. I think I mean, and then moving down from Crabominable, I think Gyarados just adds more to the synergy. It gives you just more. It gives you a little bit more that you didn't already have. Helps with ground immunities. You get Intimidate. You know, you can do Moxie Dragon Dance stuff. You could even, put Rage Powder next to it. So I think you have a lot of good shit here. I don't think we should be ranking this team ourselves, though, considering it is yours. I'd actually be curious to ask everybody in chat.
Yeah.
Can we do a poll? I think that function exists, but I don't really feel like figuring it out on the fly right now. Let us know in chat what tier you think this should be in. There's no way it's lower than Tasty. I think Tasty is even too low, personally. But tell us what you think between Spicy, Cookin', and Tasty. Where do you think this team goes?
No Terran and Dina either. Don't try to sneak your
Yeah, your
in.
opinions don't count. Anybody else, though, fair game. Let us know where this goes.
But yeah, I think the team's going to be interesting. You know, just to kind of spitball a little bit, Gyarados, we were talking about this, and I think everybody kind of knows because there's like only one or two Pokemon here that want a defensive Terra type.
Yeah.
Gyarados, definitely one of those that wants a Terra. It gets Earthquake, you know, so having like a Terra Ground Disquake mode next to Kilowattrel can still work. And I think like stuff like that, base 125 attack stat, stab Earthquake, you know, when you go Terra Ground, it gets rid of the quad electric weakness, you know. But yeah.
Defensive Terra on maybe Armarouge or Bisharp seems good.
Yeah, that's
and Revavroom and Crab. I think the Crab is gonna end up being a good user of Terra Water, offensively and defensively. That seems good. Also, speaking of Crabominable, I think the Crab is one of the few Pokemon on this whole tier list that I can confidently say is not just on the border between a couple of tiers, but is actually under tiered.
Yeah.
You know, you have shit like, you know, if you go back to the Nebby Backpackers, it's like Palafin, Salamence, and Slitherwing. They're all kind of on the border. I wouldn't call them clearly under tiered. We might find that they are once we play things out, and they overperform mostly the other A tiers. Maybe that means they're in S. Crabominable is the only one I can say confidently right now it is absolutely in the wrong tier. It should be B. And so you guys got a good steal with that.
Yeah, we were pretty excited about taking it. Like
I'm surprised it lasted this long too. Round 8.
It's one of the reasons why we didn't go Caparajah.
Yeah.
With the Revavroom slot, because we did want to. You could see these three were very quickly going to be Trick Room users, because when we got to this, we were like, we need a Steel type.
Yeah.
And we need, something, and we went with the Revavroom. Because it had the 90 base speed, kind of works well just in general with the 4 up here. But we were this close to going Caparajah. It ended up getting taken the next round after. Mm-hmm. But we were real glad that Crabominable was on the
Yeah, now
board,
the Caparajah pick was fine for you guys because you still had the Crab available. Yeah. So okay, so Ty says cooking. Toxic is here too. Where do you think this goes?
He says it's gas. That means good, just so you know, because you're not urban.
I get that. I need you to pick a tier for me. Do me a favor.
The purple one, right?
Put this back.
So, actually, I'm taking this.
Okay. Okay. Toxic, don't give me a fucking emoji. Give me a tier. Where's it go? We decided they're bland. That's right. What are the tier options are right here. We got. This is basically just S, A, B, C, D. So, yeah. What do you guys think? We're not letting Anthony, Terran, and Dina rate their own thing. So give us whatever tier you think is appropriate. Josh says cooking, okay. Or low spicy. I kind of feel that, okay. Art says cooking. Okay, I think we got enough cookings. I'm very biased. I would put this team in spicy. But I also, I was privy to a lot of the conversations happening behind the scenes, so I understand their thought process on everything. I think I think chat says cooking.
Cooking. I'm taking it.
All right. Who's you know what? Josh is here. Let's do team redacted.
Oh, Josh is here. Very cool.
Dina, you don't get a say here. Your opinion doesn't matter.
Spicy.
All right. So we moved it in. Okay, let's see. Team redacted. Woo.
The team you stole Armor Rouge from. They're now the cooking Cinnabon. No, let's stick with Omaha. I like Omaha.
Cooking Omaha Cinnabons. Do Omaha have specifics on the East Coast over there in Omaha?
The East Coast.
Do they have good Cinnabons, special East Coast Cinnabons over there? Probably.
Sure.
I don't know. It's a
Why
different
not?
world over there.
Look, Saul Goodman runs one of them. That's all we need to know. That means they're probably good. Josh, we're doing well.
We are doing very well.
I am. Did I bring my?
Did Hattery lose Expanding Force 2?
Everything lost Expanding Force. Armor Rouge gained it, but Armor Rouge never existed before. Is this mine or is this yours? What the? Oh, I just opened this. I'm fucking stupid.
It's okay.
Okay, so the team that should have had Armor Rouge.
They still did all right. I'm looking at this now. They still did all right.
Skeleturge is an okay backup, but you know what Skeleturge does not have?
Expanding Force?
Yeah.
But the Clodser to complete the Firewater Grass Core. It's not bad.
I'm not a big fan of Clodser, but you know, that's okay. Look, it's gonna do better now compared to what we formats we used to run because Dynamax doesn't exist anymore. God, I just fucking hate that speed stat.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking about that a little bit. Like, I think the 50s are a little bit better than they used to be because there's not as much like super slow shit in this dex. But 59 is still fucking terrible.
But I mean, they have Copperaja, they have Hattery, and they have the Knuckle Stack.
They're surprisingly strong on Trick Room. I don't really give a shit about the Knuckle Stack speed because it's mostly just there to be what?
It's Knuckle Stack.
Okay, yeah, it's awesome because it's fucking Knuckle Stack. I don't really care much about its speed stat because it's mostly gonna be there to be fat and do like Iron Defense body press shit anyway. You want to be taking hits. You don't really care that much about moving. If you can move first, then cool. But it's not a Trick Room sweeper the way that Copperaja and Dragalge are. So
you're right, honestly.
But look, Clodser's speed. I think I don't really expect to see Clodser in Trick Room much at all. I think they're gonna run it fast more than anything, just because of how much other slow shit they have. Trick Room's not gonna be an issue for this team. They got base 29, 30, and 44. With some really strong offenses on all three of those Pokemon. Yeah, that's
also there's not
and redirection.
There's not an offensive threat that has above 85 speed.
That's true. Okay, so I guess if you go super hard in one direction, you might suffer in the other. So, but they have really good redirection with you can put Trick Room on Indeedee and put it next to Brute Bonnet.
Mm-hmm.
You can go Follow Me Indeedee next to the Hatterene.
Mm-hmm.
Getting Trick Room up is
doesn't seem like it's going to be an issue.
Not really an issue for this team. unless you just go straight like imprison shit. I don't know, but then maybe Brute Bonnet outspeeds and spores you or something. I don't know. You can figure it out. Intimidate. Imprison Trick Room is maybe kind of bad anyway, so I don't know how much that
Most
matters.
imprisoned Trick Room users are losing to booster energy attack boosting Brute Bonnet.
Yeah,
because most
true.
of them are like either like
Yo,
ghost or psychic or something along those lines,
wait.
or frail.
Choice band Brute Bonnet.
I mean, yeah, I like the Brute.
It seems good. I found it. The first thing that came to mind that made me feel kind of weird about it was Sucker Punch in Psychic Terrain, because Sucker Punch is such a huge part of the toolkit that it has. But other than that, the synergy and versatility with Indeedee and the rest of the Trick Room mode is really good. I'm just wondering, like, what are you doing for like speed? Fast speed, high base speed shit. Persian's here, but like your next
for fast fake out.
Your next fastest thing is Indeedee, and Persian's not even an offensive Pokemon. Like, fuck. Everything's gonna outspeed you. You kind of have to. This feels like a hard Trick Room draft, which is weird in draft.
It is. What were the team Iron Ball? Right, was the hard Trick Room team. They had like Stack Attack.
No, that was Tapu Wooloo.
Tapu Wooloo.
And we whooped the fuck out of them because we just prepped for hard Trick Room. They got mad at us for using Iron Ball Aromatisse. Of course we used Iron Ball Aromatisse and Underspeed Stack.
Yeah. This team is not going to have any issues getting Trick Room up. My only question is, can you finish the game in 5 turns?
In 6v6, probably not. I think if you're going hard Trick Room, which oftentimes you're going to with this team, you gotta have double Trick Room setters in a 6v6 setting, which you can do, but that also means that you basically always have to fill a slot with Trick Room on Indeedee. That's not really a problem with Hatterene. You kind of assume you're doing that anyway, but Indeedee has a wider toolkit and more stuff it wants to use. So you don't necessarily always want to do that.
Yeah, I like the Skeledirge. I think we're going to see a lot of end games with them with the Skeledirge. Could you combine that with Brute Bonnet? We've talked about this before, and if you're new here, having the combination of Rage Powder plus Follow Me is very powerful, because what you do is you make it so that way your opponent just feels, what's the point of throwing safety goggles on anything? You know, they could still redirect, I guess, maybe to stop sleep on one thing or another. But, you know, when you have Brute Bonnet to redirect to like the hard ghost stuff or water attacks or anything like that, on the Skeledirge has Unaware, has good, has Slack Off, Torch Song, a lot of things that kind of like win endgame scenarios. That might help them a lot in their turn 7, turn 8 of the game, when they're 3-4 turns out of Trick Room.
But see, I think the turn 7, turn 8 thing you mentioned matters a lot.
Yeah.
Because, well, before I get to that, Josh said Persian has Icy Wind. It does, but I think with the speed stats of a lot of these Pokemon, it's gonna have a hard time. They're gonna have a hard time taking advantage of that Icy Wind. It'd be better if you had Tailwind somewhere. I don't see Tailwind anywhere on here. Base 85, like, you're gonna have to invest a lot of speed in that to be able to outspeed stuff in the hundreds after an Icy Wind. I just don't really feel like that's enough, and I feel like you're gonna have to rely on some like bulky offense end games, like you said, turn 7, turn 8, maybe even later. I think if you have some combination of like slow, bulky offense with Trick Room, you are often going to find yourselves in a situation where, like, if you're going up against a really good player who knows how to handle your Trick Room mode and can like halt your momentum pretty well, or reverse Trick Room somehow or something, get through your Trick Room shit, they're probably going to be slow playing it in order to do that kind of thing, and then you come out with some bulky offense with like the Skeledirge Clawitzer kind of shit. I suspect you may be at risk of losing to timer sometimes because you're forcing your opponents to slow play to get through your trick room, and then Skeledirge especially like needs some time to set up and really do what it wants to do. I don't know that I see a lot here that's gonna like overwhelm and steamroll people unless they just let your trick room mode do what it wants to do. Does that make sense?
I think that makes perfect sense.
Or you just get overwhelmed by speed and offense because you're not fast enough.
We saw this. Remember when? Wait, we don't have Team Pussy this year, huh?
No, I asked Sebby. He said they're out this time. They might come back later. We'll see.
R.I.P. Team Pussy. You guys were the goats. Love you guys.
Oh, they might still be the goats later on.
But we saw this with two teams who are no longer here. Team Pussy and Ben and Vishy's. Oh, the Mats. Yeah. How can I forget that? The Mats. They had Dark Urshifu and 1v1 to Hatterene. Like, that is so nuts to me because the Hatterene set Trick Room up, they substitute, then they They protected, and then they Dazzling Gleam, and then they substitute again. The Dazzling Gleam went off, broke the sub, got a sub again, then they protected, and then they did that all the way to the end, Wicked Blow, and knocked out the Hatterene. They wasted all 5 turns of Trick Room. Because these are two of the top players that we've known, Ben and Vishy. They're very, very good players. And when you have players that understand how to get out of Trick Room, you can have a little bit of a tough time. But other than that, the Trick Room was fire. So, where we put in the redacteds?
Are
they our first mid or
dude?
mild?
I was kind of thinking that, and
no.
that feels mean, but I think it's right. Just because it just feels like Trick Room and like some mid-range bulky offense is like all they have. I think we have to go mild.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I love the player. I like
doing
Joshy.
That,
I've seen he's Premier League, right?
Yeah, he played in the Challenger League.
Challenger League.
That's
was he in Great Lakes?
Yes, yeah, he's
him and Raz are Great Lakes. Raz is
and Toby.
Also, I'm not familiar with Toby.
They're all Great Lakes.
I'm familiar with Joshy and I'm familiar with Raz. They're good players. But we're gonna throw you into mild, guys. You're gonna prove us wrong. I'm sure of it. We're gonna look stupid at the end of this, but we're throwing you in mild as we see this. Okay.
Speaking of mild, let's go to the SoCal Cheek Drillers.
All right.
Oh, they have low kicks. Wait, they're spicy.
Oh, no.
They're immediately spicy.
Their team was trash until we saw low kicks, guys. Sorry.
Okay, so first thing,
High Roar in B tier.
I mean, I don't think that's that bad. Look, the first thing I want to talk about is these top 3, because fuck, dude, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Iron Hands, first of all, that's just correct when it falls to you at this point. Mm-hmm. Ting Lu with the Iron Hands.
They were the 7th pick.
7th, yeah. When Iron Hands falls to you at 7, you pick Iron Hands. Actually, Iron Hands and Roaring Moon were still on the board. Roaring Moon would have been a legitimate pick as well.
Those are the two. We talked to Alan and Hector, and they were fighting over Roaring Moon or an Iron Hand. They decided on Iron Hand.
Neither one is wrong.
Yeah.
Iron Hands and Ting Lu together are awesome. I mean, you're using Moose Bowl to boost up the special defense essentially on Iron Hands, which is something it really appreciates. You got a lot of type synergy. Fighting Dark Psychic Core up top is awesome. You've got Electric next to Ground. That's great. You can use you can use that electric typing to blow up waters. Gothitelle traps shit in, so you can fake out real easy. You can trap things in that are affected by Ting Lu's ability. You can trap in those special attackers if you want. You have plenty of offense and defense with all these Pokemon. Gothitelle on the offense, not so much, but like Ting Lu and Iron Hands, they're both bulky as shit, and they deal good damage. Ting Lu with the 110 base attack, it's great. Body press on a 125 defense, awesome. I mean, this trio is fantastic. It's just fuck, it's so good.
Yeah, I agree. The top with Slowking, very good.
Hold on, I don't like Slowking.
You don't like Slowking?
No. The water typing with the Trick Room mode, sure, I get it. You know, it's helping out a little bit with opposing water types against sorry, not water types. Opposing what was I? Ground types. That's what I was gonna say. Ground types that might want to hit Iron Hands, sure. Like you can find some synergy there, but like you have Gothitelle already. I don't know why you bother with Slowking.
I feel that there might. Honestly, I like the Slowking. My personal thing is I don't like the Pyroar pick. So it just felt like everything combined felt underwhelming when you combine it with that. I like the Rotom Frost. It's the only non A tier Rotom. Am I correct on that?
I think Fan and Base are in the same tier as Frost.
I think Frost is probably the better one, especially since Airstream isn't a thing anymore.
I still like Fan.
What about the Terra Ice non-snowscape blizzards?
Oh, dude, you can use the what's the move Slowking gets that sets snow and makes you switch out? You can do that and like Terra Ice your
I didn't even
Rotom.
know this move exists. What are you talking about?
Oh, it's okay, yeah, this is a new move that I think only Slowking gets it. You set snow and switch out like you U-turned or teleported. I think it's neutral priority, it's 0 priority. It's a weird move, but it's there.
Bruh.
This
is how they win with Rotom Frost.
I don't think it is, but it's cool. So, see, this is weird because I just gushed about those top 3 a lot.
Yeah.
They're all really strong, especially together. I don't really know what happened after that. They don't really like. They tick the boxes on Fire, Water, Grass, but like, it's not that great of a core, if you can even call that a core. Slowking, Pyroar, Toadschool, I don't buy it. I don't fucking buy it. Rotom Frost seems fine. Pyroar it's okay for the tier. You have, I don't know why you go Toadschool and Venomoth, or 2 Rage Powder users, like, and then I guess you have Grass with Flapple that fits a little bit better with Pyroar, but like
all with Low Kicks.
No, they didn't.
No, you sure?
Look, Low Kicks is cool. I want it to be good. It's not good. This is weird because we know Hector and Alan are great. Most of this draft, I'm not feeling it. But the top 3 picks are so fucking cool together. So I think, to me, because of those top 3, we can't put it lower than Tasty. But the rest of it is, it's rough, dude. It's
bland.
It's not working. Look, if we're talking about everything after Gothitelle, I'd put it in bland.
Okay, we're putting it in Tasty.
I think it's a low Tasty, but because of that top trio up there, I can't put it lower.
Okay, got it in Tasty. I think I agree with that, honestly.
Okay, who else is left?
Let's see.
King Squad.
Oh, King Squad.
And Phantom Thieves.
Uh-huh.
Is that it? Go back to the tier list.
Oh, yeah.
And Potatoes. Those 3. Okay, who's first out of those 3?
I guess we do King Squad, right?
King Squad, let's go.
King Squad. New players. I believe.
They're new to the league, not new to multi-battles.
Yes. They're not. We found these guys in a multi-battle league that we were in. I'll just say it. There weren't very many good players in this league. But these 2 were 2 of them. So
they're good, and they make good content too.
They make great content. If you ever have a chance, check out their stuff. Do
you think this team is kind of shofty?
This team is shofty, man. I'm telling you.
Here's my problem.
Too much passive.
Well, kind of. You need more steel resists because you start with Grimmsnarl, Baxcalibur, Garganackle, awesome. Garganackle, whatever, same thing. Really bulky offense, kind of Series 1 core. If you can get all the versatility out of it, then you're not just relying on Baxcalibur for your damage.
Yeah.
Because, like, the way these Pokemon are run normally in just Series 1 and 2, it's like Baxcalibur's the damage dealer, Grimmsnarl's the support, and Rock Salt is your kind of support / stall. I think you can afford to run Rock Salt and Grimmsnarl a little bit more offensively at times.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten plenty of good use out of offensive Grimmsnarl in past seasons. That shit's great. So I think if you're building and prepping optimally, then Baxcalibur is not carrying as much of the weight as you might expect. But of course, fuck man, you need some steel resist because all your top tier shit's weak to steel.
Yeah.
And your only steel resists here are Lucario and Raboot. Not great. That is not great.
Terra helps him a lot.
Yeah, but like I said before, like you want to be in a position where you're not forced to use your Terra to fill a hole in your team. You want to be a little bit more flexible with it. But if you got to do that, then you got to do that. Maybe you look for some better steel types come transaction time.
Yeah, I think that's fair. A lot of these Pokemon
Or fire.
I like in a vacuum. I like Noiv. I think their top 3 picks are fine. I think they're good. You're right, they are all weak to steel. That does suck. But Baxcalibur loves that Terra water, and I think it's a good Terra typing.
Yes, it is.
Yes. And I think just in general, it has a lot of different sets that you can run. The loaded dice set I think is really good. Swords Dance is really good. The like bulky citrus berry stuff is really good. There's a lot of things that I like about it. So I'm not gonna really like go hard into the top 3 picks because I think they are fine. But Noivern in a vacuum I'm not really sure how much I like it on this team. Miss Magus,
it's okay because like the team is kind of in need of some speed control.
Yeah.
I think it's great value for the tier. It's almost as fast as Kilowattrel and still has like its ability versatility is not quite as good as Kilowattrel, but Frisk is still
still a very good ability.
Yeah.
I my more stuff goes with like Lucario. I can't be sold on Lucario yet. I think just losing like Follow Me and things like that makes it really linear. And I think that hurts it a little bit.
I'd like it better if it still had coaching.
Yeah.
This is also another like I'm not really convinced very much on their low tier picks. Ditto and multi battles is really hard to use consistently.
Yeah, because you have to know what slot the other team is going to be in.
Which is hard to do in general, but even harder now that we don't have the whole player 1 gets the Dynamax slot kind of thing. So at least that gives you like a clue as to what your opponents might want to put where. But now we don't have that, so it's harder than it used to be. This is also another team that has 5 leftover points. You can drop that Raboot and get something better in C tier.
Yeah,
Masquerain
C tier has good stuff.
There is some good stuff left there. Masquerain I think is okay. You still have Intimidate in a C tier slot. Masquerain generally I don't think is that strong. I mean, you could maybe do some Quiver Dance shit, but you don't really have a lot of support for it. I mean, you can set screens with Grimmsnarl, but the stats on Masquerain are not necessarily good enough to benefit from that as much as you would want it to. Like, you don't have any redirection. That would be good. Donphan seems okay. I like Donphan, Noivern, and Tailwind Earthquake kind of shits. Yeah. You can Earthquake next to Miss Magius too. I think they have some good stuff here. This team feels like it needs work though.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I kind of agree.
What Trick Room too? What do you like? I guess your hope with Trick Room is just using those top 3 to like bulk it out, which might be okay.
I mean, Garganackle behind screens is going to be
Yeah,
hard to beat, but
but I also kind of wonder if if you're using a Trick Room mode against this team, can you just ignore the Garganackle and just kill everything
Yeah,
next to it? I don't
true.
know. Maybe that works. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
it's going to be interesting to say the least. I think I agree. I do like the Dawn fan. I like a few of these. But I think the problem is that like on the same team together, I'm not like a super huge fan. We've seen Raboot do well. Didn't Raboot win a game? Was it like the kill leader in one of the games?
I think what you're remembering is Ben and Vishy used a choice band Score Bunny against the Lava Ridge Raiders.
Yeah.
And it got like
3 or 4 kills, something like that.
I don't think it was that many, but it was at least 2.
Yeah. But with Libero getting nerfed as much as it did,
yeah, I still don't think it's that great.
Yeah.
I think like with those 5 points left over, you can toss that thing out and get a good C tier.
Yeah, there's some good C tiers, honestly. C tiers, one of the things that we discovered right away, and I'm pretty sure a lot of teams discovered it because I mentioned it earlier, but A tiers went a lot in the last couple of rounds. And I think like around 7 or 8, everybody was like, we wanted to go with a lot of B tiers, but all of the B tiers are gone. And it made it so that way a lot of people ended up like all this stuff was gone within the first couple of picks. Like all these B tiers were gone pretty quickly, and there was very little.
B tier definitely got ripped to shreds.
Yeah.
There's still good shit in there, but
and C tier now has gotten ripped to shreds. But this did not look like that.
Yeah,
in the midpoint of the draft,
there's still some good A tiers left on the board actually,
and it left A tier bare. Which in the draft transaction chat, a lot of people talked about like, oh man, nobody really touched A tier that much until the very end, where like I think Gudra ended up getting picked, Taxverse ended up getting picked, Gyarados ended up getting picked, Hatterene ended up getting picked, Saralidge ended up getting picked.
Yeah,
a lot of Pokemon ended up getting picked at the very end of the draft in A tier, which I thought was very interesting. So this. What I could say is we have a lot of very experienced drafters in this, like...
Yeah, people know what's going on.
Yeah, in this league. Like, they figured it out right away. Like, we need to start finding value in other tiers here. And we thought we were being real smart. And everybody ended up doing it. We were like, we have 3 picks left. Let's go grab C tiers in our next 2 picks. Because everybody's going for C tiers at this point. At round 7 or 8, and at the very end, we'll grab our A tier because most people will have exhausted their picks,
which still worked out for you. But there's a lot more people picking A tiers toward the end than you thought.
Yeah, and stuff like this. None of the stuff that we were looking at was going, but it definitely made us a little bit nervous as we started seeing A tiers start flying. We're like, oh man, we weren't the only ones that had this idea. So. Props to the people that are in here that did that. You guys really did, you showed your draft prowess there. Anyway, back to this.
Back to King Squad.
Back to King Squad. Let's take a look at the team one more time just to make sure that we're gonna give them the proper.
Look, if we put redacted in mild, I think we have to put King Squad in mild.
We talked about the cheat drillers, right? I think these two are pretty similar, in the sense where. We really didn't have a problem with the top of their draft, but they really failed to fill out the rest of their draft.
I still have a little problem with the top of the King Squad draft.
Yes, and I get that. The Cheek Drillers didn't drop any of their picks in the top of their draft. King Squad may have messed up a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I agree that, like, if you look at it from that point of view, they're going to be in the more mild tier here. Yeah. So you want to do the Thieves or you want to do the Potatoes?
Phantom Thieves, let's go.
All right.
These guys fucked up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
I'll be right back. So, I'm sure everybody knows by now, but Tatsugiri and Dondozo, they don't work together in multi-battles. The commander ability does not activate in multi-battles at all. Can't use it. You got to do other, if you're going to draft one of those, you got to do other shit with it. I don't know how they missed the memo. I'm pretty sure they actually voted on Tatsugiri and Dondozo, and I fucking typed out a note next to both of them in the polls chat that says Commander does not work with these Pokemon, but well, they did it anyway. I'm sure we'll see one or both of these get dropped with their first transaction. So it's a little bit hard to rate them, knowing that. I mean, they still have a lot of really good shit. Mousehold Annihilate, we all know what that does. I'm actually a little bit surprised to see how well the Mousehold Annihilate is still doing in Series 2, not just Series 1. Like, it was already really strong in Series 1. But it's still strong even with a lot of Paradox Pokemon running around. And you still have a lot of versatility with those two. It doesn't just have to be the follow me bulk up shit. You don't just have to do beat up Rage Fist stuff. You can run an offensive Mousehold with Terra Normal Population Bomb. You can still do Scarf Annihilate or whatever else you want to do. I'm sure there's a lot of creativity there in those two Pokemon. I think pairing a really solid defensive Steel type in Corviknight with these is really nice. Mm-hmm. It's going to make a lot of your shit really tough to break through, and Rotom just adds to that even more. Rotom and Corviknight defensively work really well together. I love the top of this draft, and I was really excited about Tatsugiri at first because I thought, with the Rotom and with the Corviknight, I think Tatsugiri is going to do really well. It's got a lot of good synergy. It's good for the tier, even if you're just running Storm Drain on it all the time. Rotom is hard to hit, and Water, if you just take out one of its weaknesses by putting Storm Drain next to it, it's going to be tough to take out this Rotom Heat. I love this shit a lot. And then they've picked on Dozo.
Yeah. They're dropping it, right?
I'm sure. Skiploom, great value. You get, Eviolite Rage Powder in
Spore?
C tier, Sleep Powder. Cloth, I think, is fun, but meh, you spent a lot of points up top, so you have to pick some C tiers at the bottom. Doug Trio, I actually like. I think it's a pretty high value C tier. Ground is just a good type. You have a really good speed stat with it. You have Arena Trap. Mischievous is good for Trick Room. Hell, maybe you keep Dondozo just for Trick Room shit. I don't know. Probably not. You can probably get something better out of B tier for Trick Room, but it is Trick Room. I don't think is a huge problem for this team because of all this defensive synergy they have up top, especially with the Corviknight and the Rotom. So
Annihilate doesn't mind being in Trick Room either.
Yeah, if you build it bulky enough, it can hang. So I don't really know what Mischievous is doing aside from maybe imprison or reversing a Trick Room. Technically, you do have Perish Trap with Doug Trio and Mischievous, and you can Earthquake next to Mischievous. Sure, I think it's a bad Perish Trap mode. I think most of the time you don't bother with it because Gothitelle is really good because it has a trapping ability and it's hard to remove because it's bulky as shit. Doug Trio has the lowest base HP of any fully evolved Pokemon in the whole game. That's not going to stick around very long. You're going to, if you're going to put Doug Trio on the field long enough to trap shit in so they die to Perish Song, you're going to have to rely so much on just protect and focus that shit. And even then, that might not be enough because you still got to hang around for 3 fucking turns, man. The mode is there. I don't think it's good. But the top of the draft is God, it's so fucking good. And the top 4, the top 5, top 5.
The top 5. Honestly, Dina was very busy when this got drafted. We talked about it, and one of her questions was, how did people not warn them before they drafted it? And it's what you just said. It's literally what you just said. They drafted Tatsugiri first. And Tatsugiri is a good Pokemon.
Nobody thought to go, hey, just so you know.
It worked.
Because it's good with this.
It worked. It was like, oh, okay, cool. We got Gyarados in the end, but we were even looking at Tatsugiri because it's a water dragon type. It has we see the stats here. 120 special attack, 82 speed. Yeah, it's a glass cannon, but you're kind of okay with that in certain situations because the typing is so good. You get to have a grass type without the drawbacks of without any of the weaknesses that grass types have other than like freeze dry. And with, like you said, Storm Drain worked great next to Rotom Heat. So nobody was really like, oh yeah, make sure we tell them not to grab Dondozo because that's clearly their next pick. We were looking at it. They might have sniped us, if I'm being honest with you. We had other things that we were looking at in the 5, 6, 7 slot. But I think if we get to like 8, 9, 10, we probably would have grabbed it at in the range that it was at, considering that
could be, yeah.
They weren't planning to use it for Dondozo stuff. But yeah, and then they went and grabbed Dondozo, and people were like, oh, and nobody even thought about that until they came in the chat and said, you guys just let us draft Mouse Ape and Tatsugiri Dondozo. We were like, wait, you guys think that you guys have Tatsugiri Dondozo?
Yeah.
So that was really it. It didn't really click in our heads.
I even came in after they said that, and I was like, guys, did it not occur to you that both of these were in B and were in like mid-draft territory and nobody's tried to take them? If the Commander works and both these things are for some godforsaken reason both put in B tier, if that's me, I maybe draft those round 1 because that's a huge fucking mistake on the tier listers' part.
If you're 10, or I'm sorry, 14. If you're 14,
especially if you're 14, yeah,
you're like, dude, all the S's and A's have been taken. Let's just go Tatsugiri Dondozo. We'll figure everything else out.
For 60 points to get that combination, yeah. So I feel like that probably should have tipped you off, but I don't want to shit on him too much for making that mistake.
Because literally everything else in the draft seems okay. You mentioned the Dugtrio Mischievous, but we can go harp on those C tier picks. But the top of the draft with Tatsugiri, even Skip Plume for a little bit, right?
It's a good value pick. You get redirection. I like it.
If you go right,
Skip Plume has Tailwind too.
If you go, let's take a look at the tier list here. And you get another B tier, right? There's not a lot now, but when there were a lot of B tier picks, stuff like Floatzel or NDD Mail, I believe, was still around at this point.
I mean, as you're scrolling, I'm seeing good shit on this list that they can still get.
Yes.
Even though we just got done talking about how B tier was fucking torn to shreds, which it's kind of was, but dude, there's still good shit even for them. So
yeah,
I think I don't think they're gonna have any problems looking for something to replace the Dondozo, especially because that slot feels like a bit of a flex slot. I would say, if anything, maybe you try to go for some extra speed control there, even though you don't always need it, because I think Scarf Annihilate to just neutralize an opponent's speed control right off the bat, or maybe a Corviknight with Tailwind, or a bulky Friend Guard support Mouse Hold, or the Skiploom on your own, or the Tailwind on your own Skiploom. I think there's options here to get around the fact that they don't have the best speed control. They don't have they don't have an Iron Bundle or a Kilowatt Roll or something like that. But I think they have the tools to make it work without that. Scarf Tatsugiri can work well too, even with Icy Wind. So I think maybe that's something you want to patch up a little bit with that Dondozo transaction. But they're still going to be able to do some good shit even without that. And I think I'm not seeing a lot of standard staple modes that are really going to run through them, just because they have such good combinations and defensive synergy. I'd be a little bit worried that if they lean too hard into the defensive synergy, that they might they might be a little bit worried about the timer. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
But we're in best of 3 now. So, does help a little bit.
That's true. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I almost want to put these guys in spicy because I can see this draft being so goddamn good if they just make a good transaction and get the Dondozo out of there.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
I suggest that we move the Nebby Backpackers up to spicy.
And then we put Thieves in cooking?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, look, I mean, if that Dondozo was something else, then I think the Thieves go in spicy, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Especially now that
Yeah.
we've looked at the majority of these teams.
Yeah.
The Backpackers team is looking good. I know we picked it apart a little bit, but it's still looking all right. So I think they deserve to be in spicy. And we'll throw the Thieves here and cooking until they're borderline. You know, if we throw them right here, like they really are like borderline. Oh, come on. There we go. Spicy. If they could just make 1 or 2 moves, and they didn't know, and now that they know, they could make a transaction that can fix this.
I do want to stress that a lot. If they knew, and if they made a good B tier pick instead of that Dondozo, straight up they're in spicy, no question.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
let's go to the potatoes. Last one. Actually, before we go to the potatoes, can we go back to the Primarinas real quick?
Yeah, let's check the Primarinas out. Let's see if we.
No, they're at the end. They're at the end.
They're at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, there they are.
So I'm not. This is a question, genuine question. I haven't. Do they go to spicy or do we keep them in cooking? Because we moved the Backpackers up.
I'm more comfortable moving the Backpackers than the Primarinas.
Okay, I only asked that because they're both similar style drafts and they were both very close together in how much we liked them.
Yes, I agree. I think what pushes me on these is the amount of utility that they can get out of every slot besides electric. No, electric too. Besides Wiggly.
Yeah.
Primarina, I want to see these two do something. Look, we all know what Cloister can do, shell smash stuff, but I want to see them.
I have a little bit of confidence in Cryogonal. Cloister, a little bit less so, but we'll see.
And they're top of the draft. While it's very good, I don't think it's as good as like.
Okay.
But
okay, so we keep them in cooking.
I think we keep them in cooking.
Okay.
I will be the one. The Primarinas are gonna hate me, but I will be the one that gatekeeps them from being in spicy.
All right, let's go to the potatoes.
All right, potatoes.
You get started on that. I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
No problem. They started off with two really good months in my opinion. I don't know how everybody else felt about them, but the Great Tusk Goldango setup, middling speed tiers, sure, but very very powerful special attackers and physical attackers. In general, just very very good Pokemon. Goldango, obviously, with the good as gold, has offensive pressure with the make it rain stuff. Ghost typing, so you can't really fake it out to stop it from doing anything. I think it's very good. And Great Tusk, I think we're seeing in Series 2 right now that like ground typing is just very good in general. I think considering that they were the last, pick in the of the draft, that they went back to back and grabbed Great Tusk and Goldango, I think is very good. Then they went and got Murkrow. So triple S tier could be a little bit worrying, but I felt that they were able to kind of round out the stuff a little bit. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of the rest of the stuff that they have in the draft. I think that the top 3, Murkrow, Goldango, Great Tusk, are gonna work very well together. Murkrow, Matt alluded to it, gets Sunny Day, so you can kind of have like item variability. Will PRs be updated every week? No, me and Matt used to do that. Matt and I used to do that. We don't really have the time to do it anymore. Might try and do it for specific weeks, but we'll see. These aren't even really power rankings. It's just a tier list. We didn't do anything last season, which kind of sucked because my wife and our team won the championship last year. Would have been great if we would have done some content for that, but we just really don't have the time, but we wanted to kind of do something. So I think what we'll probably try and do is maybe like a playoff scenarios type thing towards the end of the regular season, and then like a playoffs wrap up right before the finals to kind of go over the playoff games that happened and discuss like the two teams that are in finals and how their journey went, and then probably just finals and that's it. But yeah, we're not really looking to do power rankings every single week. But anyway, back onto the draft. I think that when you look at the top three, Murkrow is a lot to spend for that priority tailwind. But I think when you add in stuff like priority Sunny Day,
They wanted Talonflame. They got sniped.
oh, that makes sense. And Talon is an A, right?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
you're gonna spend a lot more.
Yeah.
But the priority Sunny Day I think is worth it. Haze actually for things like Make It Rain drops and for both close combat drops and headlong rush drops.
Oh yeah, I hadn't considered that, but that is strong.
Is very, very good. So I think that's worth it. I have issues when we start going into the rest of the draft. I like Belly Bolt a lot. I think I want Belly Bolt to be good.
I know, right?
I would have liked it a lot with like a Slow Bro, Slow King type, where you can like bulldoze, electromorphosis,
Yeah.
plus weakness policy, drop the speed down a little bit, and just boom, hit something with a hard electrical
I
attack.
love the shit people are doing with Oranguru and Belly Bolt. Have you seen that?
No.
It's the same. It's bulldoze shit,
Mm-hmm.
except with the weakness policy, of course, you do parabolic charge,
Mm-hmm.
which is a really obscure move. Do you know what that move does?
Yeah, it turns all your normal type moves
No,
into
no, no,
electric
no.
attacks. No, that's electrify.
I think so. Yeah. It is it's like a base 50 spread move. It hits all three Pokemon on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But it restores HP like Giga Drain.
Oh, okay.
And so it's a really fucking strong attack. Unfortunately, hits your partner. But you just run Telepathy Oranguru. You do humongous damage because of the Electromorphosis and Weakness Policy. And you gain a bunch of HP back, which is great for Belly Bolt because it's kind of fat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, you don't have that here. I don't think Girafarig has Bulldoze. I could be wrong, but I don't think it does.
It's also 85 speed.
Oh, right. Jesus Christ. I didn't realize it was faster than Farigiraf. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's significant. But I still feel like with an Eviolite, it's a decent C tier pick. I mean, they had the wheel. They picked those two together. So even though there's not really the same kind of combo potential, I still think they're both strong. They're both good. It's a good budget Trick Room mode because once you pick 3 S tiers up top, you have to go budget later on. You know? So and I think they did pretty well with that. I
don't like the Vivillon 4th round B tier. There has to have been better B tiers by the 4th round.
I'm okay
right?
with that. It has Rage Powder and Friend Guard.
Yeah.
I mean, and Sleep Powder. I'm
That's
okay
fair.
with that.
You know, it gives them redirection. Their main 2 Pokemon are going to be the Goldango and Great Tusk. I get it.
I think it has Quiver Dance too, and Compound Eyes with Sleep Powder and Hurricane. So it's kind of just a slightly better Butterfree.
Let's get Powder. Is Powder in the game anymore?
I think was Powder Vivillon's signature move. Was that the Pokemon they made Powder for? I think it was. I don't know if it still exists in
that could be good for Goldango,
in the game.
Right?
Yeah, I suppose. I'd be surprised if it gets played because there's a lot of other shit Vivillon wants to do. But yeah,
True.
Whatever. I think that's a fine pick. I liked pretty much everything except the until they got to Vaporeon. I'm not really sold on the Vaporeon Lilligant Camrupt group.
Fire, Water, Grass.
Even though they kind of like, even if they're not meant to be used as a core together, like I'm not really sold on any of them with the rest of the team. I like Avalugg with the Trick Room mode because I like the Avalugg and Belly Bolt are both high value Trick Room Pokemon, and they have really good type synergy together. They want to be used in the same mode.
Yeah.
Avalugg, Belly Bolt, and Trick Room, cool. I like that.
Agreed.
Vaporeon, Lilligant, Camrupt. I feel like I just don't know what any of them are doing here.
Well, I'll be honest. I really of these bottom 5 mons from Draft Rig to Avalug, even Vivillon,
I just say Vivillon, yeah.
I think I only like Belly Bolt, and Avalug because it provides you a decent trick room mode. I wish they had a better trick room setter.
Yeah.
I feel
Draft Rig's okay, but
I feel that they could have got a C tier in the 5th round that could set trick room better than Draft Rig. But
probably because you're forced to put Eviolite on it, and
Yeah.
at that point you're just taunt bait. If you don't have Eviolite on it, the stats are the defensive stats are just not. They're not there.
I think that's my main problem with it. I feel the same way about the Vaporeon and Lilligant Camraft. I'm just whatever about it. I really
You can get better shit
Yeah.
in those slots, even if the Camerupt slot ends up being kind of a wash. Like you got 2 B tier slots that you can turn into anything useful. Not that these 2 can't be useful, but I don't really care for them on this team.
All right.
So
We're doing this. Last one.
I think this is just a clear tasty. Just
no bland.
No, I don't.
I agree. I think they're a clear taste.
We've had some bland teams before. Like you remember the team that went 3 S tiers last season? Had like Thunderous, Amoonguss, and Urshifu,
Yeah.
and then just had no points for anything else. That's like a bland kind of team. We didn't have anything that bad this time.
You'll have that up here. You delete all of it.
No, it's still there.
Who was it that did that? Let me see.
It doesn't matter. Anyway, I think the Potatoes team is it's just a pretty solid, tasty pick.
I think I would agree with that, honestly.
With some upgrades, it could get up to cooking.
Yeah, definitely. And Alyssa and Henry are good players. But like, I'm not trying to be mean to Shannon. Shannon and Farrat say that they're in it for fun.
I don't think they say that anymore.
No, but you're right. They don't. You are right. Alyssa and Henry actually do this for fun. Like, they're 2 world's caliber players, right? Henry's probably like a top 5 player in Australia. Alyssa is like no scrub herself, has top cut big tournaments before.
Yeah, if you guys, Henry in particular, if you don't know about Henry, he was on stream in OCIC this weekend. He's won at least one Australian regional before.
Yeah.
He's fucking good. If these 2, I bet if these 2 treated this league with the seriousness that they treat VGC, we'd have a problem on our hands.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And with that being said, if you have to play them, be easy on them because Henry is dealing in Australian time.
Which is, I mean,
I'm pretty sure that all that means is they turn their clocks upside down, so they can't read them. So it makes it very difficult for them to schedule anything. Yeah. But yeah, I think we're done here.
Yeah.
Finally.
That is our completed tier list.
We don't want to move anything around. I like this.
I like it too. I think we're done. I personally would still want the rural jurors up in spicy, but of course that's not our decision to make. We asked chat to do that for us. So we put you guys where chat said. The only other thing I feel weird about is the Phantom Thieves, just because of the Dondozo thing.
They're this close.
Their team just doesn't seem complete because they made that unfortunate mistake. So I mean, if we, like we said, we're not doing this every week. If we were, those guys would probably get bumped up. After just a couple weeks. I have no idea if we're ever gonna do this again. Maybe we'll try like one other one mid-season, or maybe we'll do a little bit of like playoff something.
That's what I said. We're most likely gonna do like a playoff scenarios one, maybe.
Maybe
if we're gonna do one, I'm saying
right.
It's gonna be like a playoff scenarios one, and then maybe like right if like top 4 ends and we have some time before finals, we might do like a playoff wrap up finals preview.
Maybe something like that.
The jurors are going to be playing in finals, so we probably won't be able to commentary on that one. So Alyssa and Henry, or we'll take care of it again for us while we do that. Who won?
Gavin.
Oh, of course he won.
And then, of course, SoCal legend Gavin Michaels won OCIC.
Yeah, let's shout out to Gavin Michaels.
Shout out to Gavin
and Alberto Lara for making finals in OCS, all SoCal finals in Australia. How about that?
Yeah, sunny weather. That's when SoCal comes out to shine. Fun fact: me and Dina started playing in 2017. Dina decided to come to a tournament with my first tournament with me, and we had a team ready. We practiced. We did all that. Went to our first SoCal local. Signed up. And pairings got posted.
Who was her first opponent, Anthony?
Gavin Michaels.
Oh, was it? Was it Gavin Michaels?
And she destroyed him.
Yeah, right.
No, she definitely didn't.
Demolished.
He destroyed her. He was just coming off of his back-to-back regional championship with San Jose, and I think at the time it was like Anaheim was the regional that he had won.
Yeah.
But yeah, SoCal is a tough place to win.
Dude, I remember walking around that Anaheim regional like later in the. I was playing in the PC the day after, and I was just walking around the convention center, and I was at San Jose too, the one he won. I was walking around, heard the announcer say something about Gavin Michaels winning that regional. I just remember that motherfucker. He won this one too. Jesus. Yeah, he's very good.
Ridiculous.
He and Alberto are both very. I mean, Gavin he's won U.S. Nationals before. He's won at least 2 regionals, maybe more.
They were showing his accomplishments, and like
they didn't have enough space to fit
Alberto.
all
Alberto is such a acclaimed player, right?
Yeah.
He has so many accomplishments. It was like top 8 at this one, top 16 at this one, day 2 at this one, and then with Gavin, it was like. Won this regional, won this regional, won this national, won this regional, went day 2, top 8 worlds. You're like, Jesus Christ! Like, man, he's so good.
You want to know another fun fact about those two? Gavin and Alberto?
What happened? They lose to Mega Caesar?
I beat them both with Mega Scissor on the same day, yeah. Yeah, and then I won the tournament. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is supposed to be an MBC stream. I don't know. Finals just finished, so we kind of had to talk about the OCIC finals, but
love those two. They're great guys, man.
Yes,
really.
Yes.
But yeah, appreciate you guys for coming by, putting up with us for a little bit. If your team got ranked low, it's because we don't know what the fuck we're talking about, and you're gonna come in and you're gonna prove us wrong. I believe in you. Okay, and if your team got ranked high, please don't make us look like morons. All right.
I have a question before we end. Is it any coincidence that the only 2 teams with no logo are the only 2 teams that ended up in mild?
Okay, you know what?
Get a logo, guys.
Yeah. Get a logo.
You'll do a lot better, I promise.
You know who else lost with no logo? Joe UX9. Yep. Joe UX9, number 1 NA player from 2019 to 2022, because championship points never got rid of. Could not win in this league because he had no logo.
They also didn't show up for their fucking playoff match.
They also didn't show up for their playoff match.
That's another story.
But
anyway,
they didn't do well. I mean, other than making playoffs.
For anyone still watching this right now,
I'm sorry.
Either whether you're watching the live stream or watching the VOD later, yes, I apologize, but I also thank you for sticking with us this long while we're drunkenly rambling, even though we're done with everything. Yeah, like we said, we may do more content later, but it's a little bit hard for us to guarantee anything right now. If there's anything in the works for like a mid-season power rankings or a playoff picture or something, or finals commentary or whatever we want, I don't know. I have no idea. We will let you know when we know. So, with that being said, I think we've been streaming for well over 3 hours.
3.5 hours.
3.5 hours. I think it's time to sign off.